the bullshit, okay? Some real common facts.
What up? What up? Welcome back to another edition of Debate with Bake podcast, episode 29 to be exact, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Brought to you by Most Serious and Entertainment at MostSerious.com, and we back at it. We the sports center of MostSerious.com. Shout out to all the Most Serious family, Chuck, CEO / producer, First Lady of Most Serious, Kim. You know, the other acts, Most City Podcast, Guns Down, Gloves Up with Dr. Johnny Bonder and Dr. Candace Matthews, to the whole Most Serious family. We back in it for episode 29. And we're going to call this a Blue New York Monday. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call it a Blue New York Monday. We stepped in the studio today and we had everything set up. D'Amico Ryans, Warren Moon, Houston Oilers, Throwback. And then we go to New York and we look at the background. And this is why I called it a New York Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Check out my man, my co-host, Cole, man. Check him out. He got the full New York fitted on with the Yankees jersey. And in the background, because it is a New York Monday, he got Jalen Brunson and Patrick Ewing. Shout out to my man, Cole. So we're going to call it a New York Monday. Cole, what's up with you, man?
I'm chilling, man. Today's like, I felt like you waiting for Christmas to start. You wanted to just go open those presents. That's what it feels like waiting for a Knicks game here in New York City, man. The whole city's just ready for round two. Y'all know what that's about, right?
What's that?
Round two. Y'all been to round two? Oh, yeah. Next year.
He took a shot. He took a shot. He took a shot, ladies and gentlemen. This is the same guy that took a shot. We actually beat them in the NBA Finals. But you know what? I'm going to let him have his moment because it is a New York Monday. But let's get into it. Let me bring my other co-host in. He's been rocking with us for the past month and change, man. He is here with me in the studio. He's been adding that extra kick on this side. But Larry, a.k.a. Roll Evans, what's up with you, Larry, man?
Hello.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? We got it going on in here.
I know, man.
We make it do what it do.
Mm-hmm.
It is a New York Monday, but we tolerant of that.
Yeah.
We're going to leave it at that.
That's right, man. Ro been bringing it down with us. Ro brought his own people in on the podcast, but Ro been getting in on these debates, man, and we rocking as three. Shout out to Shayla, my other co-host. She out right now. I'm going to call it right now. She out there for the Most Serious street team. I mean, she doing something out in Most City, but shout out to Shayla. We can't wait to get her back. I actually had some questions and debates about San Antonio, but because she ain't here, I'm going to let her make it. I'm going to let you make it too, Shayla, because you did send something in the chat last week where I was kind of like, you want to talk about Ezekiel going back to the Cowboys, and she was really excited about this. We're going to have to talk to you about that. But shout out to you out there on the Most Serious street team. And let's get into it, man. Since we're talking about a New York Monday, we got to get into underdog fantasy because we definitely want to get into the NBA second round Eastern Conference playoffs with the New York Knicks versus Indiana Pacers, and we got Chuck to take us in on underdog fantasy. Take us away, Chuck.
Yo, we back another week, another day of some legalized gambling. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy for making this possible. And like I say all the time, if y'all hear this, man, y'all need to pay us for saying that. And then I'll start telling people to go download it and use our, I can't wait to say use promo code Most Serious.
That's right.
Straight up.
Use our platform. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up. That's what I would like to happen. So, but with that being said, we logged into the Underdog right now. Big game tonight, right? Game 1, Eastern Conference semis, man. We got Pacers at Knicks, right? So what y'all? I got Halliburton up right now. Y'all think he gonna have more than 5 first quarter points?
Cole, let's start with you. What you got?
I'll go with the 17.5 points for the game.
So 18 points total for the game.
He'll get
Y'all
18 at least. He has
That's
to
easy.
for him to have a chance.
Yeah, for them to have a chance. Yeah.
I think he'll get 18 as well. I think that's a safe bet. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go higher. So I think he'll get higher than 18.
Think so?
Yeah.
I mean, 18 is safe though.
18, but I gotta go higher or lower. Right?
Okay, all right. Yeah.
So I think
you can't go lower.
Yeah. I don't think he'll go low. I think he'll go higher than that. All right, let's look at the homie Jalen Brunson. Right, Jalen Brunson. You think he gonna have 37 points for the game?
And then here's the thing. Go ahead, Cole. My bad.
I have him going for 30 because it's the first game. He usually adjusts, but he's on fire. 35, I'd say 30, 35. That's where I have him at.
Man, and the thing about it is that sounds so crazy, but he's been playing like that. I think he averaging like 30-something per game in playoffs.
35.
Yeah. So they got a higher right here for the higher than 31.
Okay, let me ask you this, and then we'll place the bet.
Safe one.
Hold on. Let me ask you this, because at the end of the day, I gotta ask this question. Do we think Indiana is better than Philly? Can Indiana defend him better than Philly can?
Absolutely not. Well,
so I think it's a safe. It might be a safe. That's what I was leaning
They don't
towards.
hold anybody though.
Yeah, they don't hold anybody.
So it probably is a safe bet then.
Yeah, I think higher than 31 for sure.
You think so, Cole?
Last game on them.
They won't figure it out the first game.
Yeah.
They won't make the
All right, cool.
Right,
I just had to ask.
He'll bust them up. He gonna bust them up.
Yeah.
All right, y'all give me one more player. Somebody from either Siakam over in the Pacers or Hart from New York. Who y'all want?
What they want from Hart?
Okay, so let's see. Siakam, they got think he'll score more than 4 points in the first quarter. He start, right? Yeah, he start.
I think that's easy. What Hart though? What about Hart?
Let's see here. Hart, they got.
I would like to combine points and rebounds for Hart.
Hart points and rebounds.
But you can't guarantee that though. Those rebounds he did in the first round.
So
that was
33
incredible.
points and rebounds.
So I can't go there.
I can't do 33. If it was like 24,
he'll be lower than that.
Yeah. Because you can't gamble on the fact what they did. Like Joel Embiid was hurt.
So you agree too that he's gonna be lower than that, Cole?
32.
I think that's a bit lower than 32 and a half.
I personally think. I mean, majority rule. I personally think.
I'll go with y'all. If y'all say yes and majority rule less, I'll go with it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go. I'm just curious.
I got him go for 10 rebounds. Is there one where I got him lower than 12, than 13? That's hard though, because he's been rebounding.
I think y'all should stick with Siakam, man. I can't count on Josh Hart as good as he's been playing. I can't gamble on him yet.
That's why I think it's really safe going on the lower, because reality is
I say don't touch Josh Hart.
If he lower, it's a win.
What's Siakam point total?
Siakam point total is
I think you go with Siakam.
21 points for the game. Higher or lower, and then they got a chili pepper here with 25 points. They say that's a hot bet that he gonna get 25.
I don't know because OG gonna be guarding him.
I ain't saying 25 with the chili pepper, but I am saying the bet you was talking about with the quarter. What they say, 4 points for Siakam?
Lower than 11 rebounds for Siakam. I say lower than 11.
Lower than 11 rebounds. What y'all think about Siakam? 28 points in rebounds.
Oh man, him now.
OG got it. Go to OG.
Say lower again, like lower.
See what OG. See what they have for OG.
Let's see. I don't know if I passed them up or not. Let's see.
And I like OG too. I don't know, man.
I feel like
I would rather do the Siakam lower.
Okay, here go OG right here. Total points for the game 17 or 16.5.
I like the rebounds and points for him because he's been picking up his rebound numbers.
So you think he's gonna be higher or lower than 23.5?
I think he'll be higher than 20. I think he'll be higher than 23.5.
You think he'll be higher?
Man, I ain't ready to do that.
Points and rebounds.
You don't have to majority rules.
That's what I'm saying. But see, that's what I'm saying. Are you? That's what I'm saying. Are you being emotional right now because you?
I'm being how he's been playing lately. How he's been playing lately. But go with the 2 steals. I guarantee the 2 steals.
Yeah, higher or lower?
Higher. That's 2.
Hey, I'm gonna let y'all. I'm out on OG. That's his man.
Get 2 steals.
I'm out
I'm
on
gonna give you the
OG.
higher on the 2 steals. For
My
OG.
whole thing is Siakam, man.
He's gonna get the 2 steals. I promise you that.
Didn't they
But
play?
that's what I'm saying.
Didn't they play together in Toronto?
Him and OG.
OG and
Yeah.
Siakam.
I think so.
He's gonna
That's
get
gonna
the
be
2.
interesting to see them boys lock up. Tell you the truth.
You got
That's gonna
Precious.
be interesting.
Precious gonna be guard. Siakam ain't gonna go crazy. I'm telling you.
I mean, he's not gonna go crazy.
I'm not saying go crazy. I just think he the safer pick. I think he the more consistent out of hard OG. I think Siakam is more consistent.
He ain't
All
seen
right,
that
well,
deep.
shout out to
Who'd you go
Underdog
with,
Fantasy.
Chuck? Hold on, Chuck. Chuck just
I just made the best. So we
Chuck just went on ahead, just like, yeah, y'all can't make up your mind. I got it, man.
yeah, bit made. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Underdog Fantasy, man. Yeah, we just bet on. So I kept all 4 bits. I did the Hart bit. I did the Siakam bit. I did the Brunson bit, and I did the whatchamacallit, the first one.
All right, man. I mean, don't listen to Cole with this emotional betting on Hart and all that. Man, that they don't be getting rebounds like that on a consistent basis.
I think we went lower. We went lower. Huh?
Yeah, we went
Okay,
lower.
so we took
went
the
lower.
safe
Yeah,
route. All
yeah,
right,
we
man.
went
Don't
lower.
be getting this dude to get you in some emotional bet. Like, it's the same dude that, like, he'll tell you. Like, again, I go back to one of his most famous bets, ladies and gentlemen. He bet that Ryan Garcia was going to beat Tank. So you got to watch this guy. Sometimes, you know, he goes with the underdog
He
Hart.
put money or his word on it.
Ask him before we
Cole.
get into it, because he
Cole,
don't.
did you
notice
actually
he
put
ain't
some
saying
on the dog?
He ain't saying nothing. He not saying nothing.
I usually write on my underdogs though.
Oh,
That's how
well,
I
no,
won
no,
my money on FanDuel.
I feel that.
He ain't get specific about it. You see it though,
Yeah.
right? But we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave that alone after he found out his man
I just
tested
said that
positive.
crazy Garcia for Tank thing. I can admit to that though.
That's right. Tell the world that you did that,
though.
because you don't be liking to admit that you do stuff.
I said it only because I was doing that with a bet, not because I had, I knew common sense wise, can't no one beat Tank, except for maybe Crawford.
See how he lean into it. All right, let's get back into business, ladies and gentlemen, because Cole will have you go off into a tirade. That's his shot at Haney and rolling with Tank. But let's get into the football stuff first, man, because we got plenty of time to talk about boxing. But anyway, let's get into it. The breaking news in the NFL this week, and it just happened recently, I want to say within the last 2 days, but Odell Beckham Jr. and the Miami Dolphins, have reached an agreement on a 1-year contract worth $8.25 million. Sources confirmed by ESPN. Now, here is what the new Miami Dolphins offense and wide receiver trio look like. You got quarterback Tua, I cannot say his last name, running back Raheem Mostert, running back Devon O'Kane, wide receiver Tyreek Hill, wide receiver Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, of course, Odell Beckham Jr., wide receiver Braxton Berrios, tight end Juno Smith. Now, let's get into it. Let's talk about this, because now, here we are. Miami, they're breaking the bank. They're going in. They added Beckham. So let me ask the first question to both of you all, and we'll go to Cole first. All right, Cole, number one, do you like this pickup by the Dolphins? Yay or nay, and tell us why.
I say nay, and I'm gonna say nay because I'm tired of people trying to build super teams. It don't matter what sport. It hasn't been working the last couple of years. I think they're already good. I think that they'll be the second best team in the division, but it gives them another piece. But I don't think it makes them that much better. I think at the end of the day that their issue is their physicality and playing in cold weather. And they're in the NFC East, where a majority of their games are going to take place.
AFC
Physical team in cold AFC East. I'm sorry, against cold weather teams and physical teams, and that's one of their weaknesses. Is when you get physical with them, they get soft.
So you don't think this pickup made them any better? Basically,
I don't think it made them any better. Not really, to be honest with you.
Okay. Now you said, let me go back to what you were saying in your commentary. You said that they're the second best team in the AFC East. Who do you have as number one?
I have the Jets as number one.
Okay.
As long as Aaron Rodgers is there and healthy, the Jets is number one.
Okay.
That defense travels, and we have the best running back outside of McCaffrey in the NFL. So.
Okay. Ro, what's up? What you think about this? What you think about the Dolphins in this move, and talk about your thoughts?
I initially didn't like it because I thought, okay, Odell is kind of washed at this point anyway, and it's just the best of who's available, and I'll never necessarily just knock, a guy like that getting a 1 year deal. Them taking a gamble like that is a relatively safe bet to become more explosive, and I see them being more explosive. He is still a weapon, even in diminished capacity, alongside that set of receivers. Has he ever won at the highest level? Well, yeah, I guess he has. He got a Super Bowl with the Rams. Yeah, I mean, I like them adding him to the mix. I think he was being wasted, so to speak, in Baltimore. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever, Lamar.
Yeah, on Lamar doesn't acclimate his receiver. I mean, integrate his receivers as well as say a Tua does. So there's, it says something. They're trying to make a statement. They can't control the weather, Cole. I mean, that's cold blooded. I don't even know why you would even get at that. But I think they're gonna definitely compete with the Jets for the lead in that division in that AFC East.
Yeah.
In spite of the weather, even I think. Best case scenario, it might the road to the Super Bowl goes through there if they can really set the right tone and stay healthy. They're explosive as anybody. That core, I mean, Tyreek Hill has been head and shoulders above everybody else the last few years, I believe, even changing zip codes. I mean, to me, as a Texan fan, I'm only really worried about them and maybe. Well, no, and definitely Pat. Because Kansas City loaded up, and
everybody got to be worried about.
Yeah, everybody needs to be worried about that. But yeah, no, I like what they did. I mean, I like what they did adding them to the mix. I mean, they could have done better. They could have done worse.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. When I saw this move at first, I said, and I think like a lot of fans, they probably thought, okay, it's a big name going to an already explosive offense, like you said, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, this is my question. I do like it, but I got a couple of questions to the Dolphins, and maybe they'll address this, whether it be in the press conference. Maybe they've already addressed this, but I got two questions. Well, not two questions, but two concerns. Number one, they must really, and both of y'all can tell me your opinion on this, they must really believe in Tua. I've seen spurts of him being, what they believe him to be. And then I guess if somebody wanted to counter my concern, they could say, well, look at how many yards he threw for last year and how explosive they were. Yes. But at the end of the day, my counter argument to that is, well, they got kicked out of the first round of the playoffs. So, yeah, it's a lot of yards and explosiveness. Yes. But how does that translate into winning? And then they must really believe in Tua. I'm not really sold on Tua yet, but it looks like they're willing to see how far they can go with him, and they're giving him everything in the bank. So if they don't succeed, it's bad for Tua, because you're not going to get another setup like this in the NFL for the rest of your career. Number two, to your point, Ro, it is another explosive receiver. But again, my counter argument to that is he's not the same. And what is going to be his role in this receiver trio? Is he a possession receiver? Because they got the weapon on the outside with Tyreek Hill. Waddle, and Cole, you tell me if you agree with this. Isn't Waddle already a possession receiver, or he's a receiver that can also give you, great plays? He can do multiple things.
I think he's a number one receiver on any NFL team. I will say Tariq and Waddle are number one receiver.
Right. So my question to the Dolphins, and maybe y'all can answer this, I don't know. What is going to be Odell Beckham's Jr. role? And I'm pretty sure they discussed that with him prior to him signing. They only signed him to 1 year deal. But that 1 year deal means that they are planning on winning big and now. But what is going to be his role in this offense? That's what I want to know when Miami signed this, because that's why I got thoughts underneath this debate, because it's like, okay, I know what Tyreek Hill can do. I know what Waddle can do. These other guys, I kind of got bits and pieces of what they can do. But what is going to be Odell Beckham Jr.'s role in this offense? Not saying I don't agree with the signing. I just don't quite know the direction. Like, is he a decoy? He could be a decoy at times. Is he going to be an explosive receiver? Well, we haven't seen that. And to your point about Baltimore, Ro, they weren't going to use him. That's a run-first offense. I think they wasted time for that, picking him up. But let me ask you this, and Ro, I see you shaking your head. Maybe you can answer this question for me. What is his role? Or what if you were the Dolphins, what would be his role on this team, Odell Beckham Jr.'s role?
I'll take it straight to the apple, like my man said before, once before, a couple shows back. At the end of the day, he's kind of a Chris Carter-ish looking talent in terms of just his hands alone. So it's like he's going to be able to make big catches and step in big spots where it's impossible to really give him 16, 17 games and remain a viable threat and be healthy. You never want to be depleted and short because things happen. It's the NFL after all. And adding a weapon like that on a 1-year deal, your expectations are, you can honestly get every penny out of what, they're asking of him to do out there in terms of just big catches here in spots. They're going to overload people and be able to take with dual deep threats. Because like you said, Jalen is a possession receiver as well. He's a good receiver all around. But they're arguably they're the fastest team out there outside of Kansas City and what they did in the draft.
I get it. But let me flip this over to Cole because Cole is in the division. Cole, let me put you in a scenario. You're the Jets defensive coordinator. How are you playing this offense? In particular, the receivers. I'm talking about, let's just say they got a package where they got Hill, Waddle, and Odell on the field together. Let's just say all of these guys, for whatever reason, they got a package where Miami is doing this, where they got all these guys on the field together. You as the Jets, are you doing anything different that you did last year when you played them?
Not with our team. With our corners, we're going to man up. We just going to play a man up and let our defensive line eat. Because
maybe that's a bad example, but any other team.
Is Sauce really that good?
Yeah, they are.
Sauce is
Yeah, they are. And that mess, I say maybe it's a bad question to Cole because they have a top 5 defense. But Cole, any defense, does Odell Beckham put any fear in you?
He doesn't really. I think their speed over the top with Tyreek puts fear in me.
That's what I'm saying. Does anything really change?
Which makes me double over there, which most teams don't have that nickel corner that's as good as an Odell. But at the same time,
because you still gonna single coverage him, right? Like you still gonna play you're still gonna play the Dolphins like you would play them last year.
Yeah.
On a double heel. Go ahead.
My issue with Odell is that since the Super Bowl, he's just looked average to me. He looks like Jarvis Landry. You know what I mean? Like I don't see anything crazy from him. I think he's the average.
That's my point. That's why I said that's been the question of this topic.
He's Braxton Barrios. He's Braxton Barrios. They just got another Braxton Barrios on their team.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying to myself. Is like, okay, I get it. And to Rose's point, he is explosive. I mean, he's Odell Beckham. He's not the regular receiver. He's not definitely what he used to be. But I'm just saying to myself, like, I mean, does this really put any more fear? Like when the Texans added the kid from Buffalo, that instantly puts more fear into defenses that have to face us, in particular in the AFC South. When we added Diggs, it was like, okay, what are we really going to do? Because now we got a number 1 receiver. We got a quarterback coming off a historic rookie season. That puts fear in the defense.
Well, think about that in that same vein that Cole just said. All of the attention that Tyreek is going to command out there. You can kind of count on a receiver like Odell to cook any little lonely nickelback down there.
But see, I don't know. I kind of agree with Cole, He's looked average to me.
He has, but he hasn't been. I mean, his usage was low. You said
okay. I give you that. His usage rate was Baltimore, low. I don't know.
He didn't get many touches or looks.
You're right. You're right. Like Baltimore is a bad example.
And I'm no Odell fan. Don't get it twisted. I'm not even really an Odell fan, quiet as kept. I think he's tremendously overrated simply because, I mean, until he got the ring, now he's got the resume, boy's going to really start sneaking that Hall of Fame talking now on him real quick. And I say the jury's out. I remember there being a lot of bad years as well and unproductive
other than the Giants.
Injury years, injury-plagued years. So it's like – that I don't know, and that's another debate for another day.
Right.
But for these intents and purposes, I'm worried about the Dolphins for that reason alone. That's pretty cool. I mean, in addition to what was already scary, Because I mean, I'm sorry, Cole. It was foolish enough for me, but the Jets don't scare me. I mean, for some reason alone, the Jets don't scare
That's a
me.
shot, Cole.
Whether it's luck,
That's a shot.
no,
You know
whether
what? I'm not gonna talk trash because my season ended 4 seconds into the season, man. So if all I'm saying is Rodgers plays, the only team better than us in the NFC East is in the NFC
AFC, man.
AFC. I'm sorry, is Kansas City.
See, that's what happened when you live in the city, when you got two, LA and New York, when you got two teams. Because, see, what's killing me right now is I really thought he was a Mets fan. But now I look on the screen and it's like, but you get to do that.
We in the Bronx.
That's
Okay.
you get to do that in New York. You get to jump back and forth because they both say New York. But again, you know, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess my biggest question, I should have came out and said it, is like, I just don't know how much Odell has left. I love it because it's a big name. And it's like, but I mean, are we really defenses? Are we really scared? Are we really going to game plan?
You don't have to be, but you be scared of Tyreek.
Of course, but that's my point though. It's the same as last year.
It creates some mismatches, just like on the basketball court. They command so much attention,
but
that the matchups you end up having,
they're
gonna have linebackers end up trying to match up with this boy.
Yeah, but
he's productive enough if put to use.
But if I'm any other team, just like I'm asking this question,
you don't change up your.
I'm gonna stick with what they've been doing, and I'm gonna make Odell beat us. And if he beat us,
oh no! But see, they didn't sign him for that. They just need.
That's why I need to know his role. That's my point. Because I don't know if he can beat anybody. If he can do that,
he can do that.
You think so?
He can beat the third, fourth, fifth best cornerback on each team. I mean,
I don't know, man.
I think he's still in the lead.
I hate to side with Cole.
How old is he?
I hate to side with Cole, but I'm with Cole. Like, he looked average to me.
But how old is he? Anybody look average in Baltimore?
I mean, even before Baltimore, though.
Go to Baltimore.
Even before Baltimore, he wasn't looking. I guess
he looked explosive in the Super Bowl, just like Cole said, till he tore his thing. But even then, I mean, has he really been? Oh, he was cooking. He exploded in the Super Bowl.
He was having a good game in the Super Bowl. Injured.
He said
anybody. Listen. Anybody
not injured.
Anybody can have a good game. All I'm saying is this. And I get, and Ro make a good point. I'm not basing it. I'm not basing it on Baltimore. I just see what Cole see. He's just looked average to me.
But they signed him for 8. They paying.
No, the Dolphins don't. It ain't no sweat off they back. You're right. Contract wise, is no sweat. I don't know. I just got to see how much he got left. Because if I'm playing Miami, I'm not game planning any different than what I've been doing. And I think that's smart. That's all I'm saying.
But that'll get you beat. I'm telling you.
You think he can beat?
I think he's marginally better. He makes them marginally better on paper, at least. I mean, when your depth chart is like as such, you know what I'm saying, in terms of your receivers. You're running you're running 3 receiver sets where, you know what I'm saying, you got 2 nickelbacks out there. They might even have to send some dime packages out there with all them
that's fair.
all them receivers out there. And you got threats like that downfield. It's just he can run a route. I'm saying Odell Beckham ain't that. Well, he's not that old and washed. I thought those were my first thoughts when I told you, even in the chat earlier when we chopped it up about it. I said, man, that boy washed. They kind of wasted money on that. But then the more I thought about it, they don't really need much out of him. He just has to wait his turn and then go out there in the right situation, and he might get 6 plays a game.
So
and it might be
all right. So let me translate this, and then we'll move on. Would you say, for what they already have, would he be a reliable possession receiver? Meaning, if we need
absolutely,
if we got a 3rd and 7, he can get us.
He'll run his route correctly.
And then he'll definitely get us a first down. Okay, all right. Absolutely. Maybe as a possession receiver, I could see that. Maybe that's what it is. But I mean, I don't know. They don't get worse with him, but you know. But anyway, all right, let's move on. Let's go. I want to ask this question. This is just because I just wanted to ask this question for a debate, but I want to get everybody's opinion on this because it's like I've always wanted to ask this question. All of us being from the 90s, but who is the dirtiest NFL player that you've ever seen? Let's start with Ro on this one.
I thought about it long and hard, ladies and gentlemen, and I've seen a lot, and done a lot too. But I'm gonna go and pull out the hat, nigga. My man Albert Hainsworth, man. Albert
Oh,
Hainsworth.
I forgot what
is
it. Chuck, give me a
probably
hand clap on
the
that.
dirtiest-
I forgot about Hainsworth. Oh,
Yeah.
man, especially the Titan run.
Yeah. I was an Albert Hainsworth fan until I heard about some of this stuff, and it turned your stomach. It's like, wait a minute, now, bro.
So, is there
Man.
any particular
Oh,
play
man.
that you can recall?
Oh man, yeah, when he stomped on Andre Guerrero's head, he cleated that boy's face and head without a helmet, man.
Forgot about that.
Shout out to Andre Guerrero from the Cowboys, man. Hope you're doing all right, my man. That was cold blooded, man.
I forgot about that.
I haven't seen much. Like, to put it in context for those that don't know, that don't tune in and that in depth. Albert Hainsworth went to the University of Tennessee. He was probably 6'5", 325, 326 pound defensive lineman, man. And hey, man, pure hell, like I say, on wheels. And to put into context the event that I'm talking about, they wear cleats in football. And the offensive lineman he was engaged with, lost his helmet and did something that he objected to, and he reacted by stomping on him in the face and head with metal cleats all up in the face. You know, I don't even think he got banned for that.
Hold on. I forgot about that.
Real spit. I'm giving the youngsters some game. I didn't live through and seen some things. It's been some, you know. I remember when they had Madden, they had another game called it wasn't even Blitz. What was the video game called, man?
Or not?
Nah.
Hainsworth has been disqualified and walks off.
This is the play right here.
Right there.
I remember that.
That is unbelievable.
You hit him right by somebody. Oh my God.
And there's Gerard with a towel to his head, and Hainsworth has been.
Man, shout out to Ro. Go ahead, Ro. Finish up. I forgot about that.
Hey, man, like I said, that was the. I'll expound. That was the dirtiest play, I'll say, but that garnered the dirtiest rip. I had never seen anything so vile, so despicable. Yeah. I was a Hainsworth fan up until that point, and I just couldn't defend the action. So, you know, I mean,
so your pick is Albert Hainsworth.
Albert Hainsworth. Shout out to Big Al, man. But,
that's a good one. I didn't even think about that. Cole, what you got, man? That's a good one. I didn't even think about Hainsworth.
That was a real good one. For me, I had to say Bill Romanowski, man.
Another good one.
I think the Bill Romanowski not only played dirty, but he also spit on you, spit in your face. Like, to me, the worst thing you can do to a grown man is slap him or spit on him. And I think to me,
no lies detected.
Yeah,
no lies detected. In fact,
he was on my list. Yeah, go ahead.
He's the dirtiest player I ever watched,
hands down. That's a good one. Those are both good ones, man. Golly, I forgot about Hainsworth, but Romanowski is probably the best out there as far as dirty. And the thing about Romanowski is we always caught it. It was never like hitting or anything. For me, and a lot of people ain't gonna agree with this, and I actually like this guy as a player. I'm gonna say Adamaka Suh. The stuff that Suh would do, stepping on people's feet. Suh kicked somebody in the nuts deliberately. And the thing about Suh was like they would ask Suh about it. Suh was like, yeah, I did it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't friends with nobody on that field. And it is what it is. And Suh didn't try to hide nothing. But golly, man, these are all great picks. Out of all three, let's go panel. Who do y'all think is the dirtiest? Suh, Romanowski, and Albert Hainsworth.
See, I got to exclude Hainsworth then because that was just the singular dirtiest play.
That's probably the dirtiest play.
I'd be more inclined to agree with Cole on the Romanowski on being dirty on a consistent basis. He was dirty in L.A. For the Raiders. He was dirty at Denver. Yeah. He was dirty in Lodi every way that it was, you know, as far as I knew. So, you know, very few people that played the game and won on that level didn't get jobs in football later on going on into life. He was one of them. The NFL had the dirt, you know. I mean, because I I was gonna throw Ray Rice out there or somebody else despicable that did something despicable while in the league. But now the single in-game action, like I said, I think that culminates everything we trying to embody. That Romanowski was a dirty son of a bitch.
He was.
It's like Bill, you know what I'm saying?
He was.
Fuck you, Bill.
He was.
On the cool. On the cool.
He was
On the
nasty.
cool.
He was nasty. Like Cole said, I gotta agree with Cole. If his bodily fluids involved, spitting.
Sean T used to spit on boy.
Yeah.
Hey, boy, hey.
Yeah. I gotta go with Romanowski though. Let me ask you this: do anybody remember that? Like all three of us, Chuck, you included, all four of us rather. Does anybody remember our dirtiest team in the NFL? Team as a team, dirtiest team in the NFL. Cheap shot you. Anybody? I can't recall.
I'm gonna say them Dolphins. Y'all remember that coach was out there doing that coke, talking to
Which Dolphins team? Who you talking about?
Not a couple years ago, man. The coach he messed up and sent the wrong video to somebody and was on there tooting dope on his on before a team meeting. Hey, I'm serious. This wasn't on no cocaine cowboy Mercury mode. I'm not talking about the 72 team. I'm talking about recently. This man was fired recently.
Who you talking about the dirtiest coach or the team? I'm talking about team.
Man. Well, them semantics, ain't it?
We're going to have an all-drug team, but anybody...
Hey, Mike Irvin, where you at, baby?
In the 93 Cowboys. Hey, but Cole, do you have a team that's dirty that you remember that cheap shot as a team?
I can't recall any dirty team though, man. That'd be hard to. That's hard to.
As a team.
Yeah,
I would have to say the Jets, to be honest with you. The Jets had a whole bunch of nasty linebackers from Bart Scott's team.
Oh, yeah.
Who was the other big guy?
Is that the Rex Ryan era?
No, that was before that even.
I wouldn't call it.
Oh, you talking about
I'm talking about the team. Whoever gave Tom Brady his break, whoever their defensive coordinator was at that particular point in time.
I think I know.
You know what I'm saying? And they Drew Bledsoe on the sideline. I think it was Mo Lewis. I forgot the linebacker's name, but somebody absolutely destroyed.
They might have been
Drew
the
Bledsoe.
Bart Scott era.
Yeah.
It might have been when Bart Scott was there.
And he was nasty for a long time.
Yeah, when they was competitive.
And you know
was
what?
it Mark Sanchez when they had those streams when they went to the AFC? It was those years when they went to the AFC Championship games.
Yeah.
They had some. That was a Rex Ryan. That was a Rex Ryan led
and they
team.
were nasty. They were nasty too. They were nasty.
Yeah. I would say for me,
Baltimore kind of dirty too, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say Baltimore. I was gonna say the Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe the ones that we couldn't kick down the door. These guys right here, the 70s Pittsburgh Steelers.
Cleveland.
Which one?
Any team
in the 80s?
Any team Clay Matthews Sr. was on. You know what I'm saying? Any one of them teams, like I said, they let them get away with hell. Hey, look, y'all see that back there? That Warren Moon back there? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I suffered. You know what I'm saying? I suffered that.
Yeah, the Browns were pretty. Were they dirty though? They were rough though. Were they dirty?
Rough in the 80s?
You couldn't say that.
It was out
you
there.
couldn't say that. You couldn't say that.
Suplexes. I'm talking about. Hey man, that was back when the turf was the number one enemy in America.
We can say the 90s Browns before they got good again. Now we talking about the Browns. That might have been the 2000s. Do you remember when Jamal Lewis went over there?
Yeah.
Was that? Yeah.
They were ugly then. They've always had nasty. They just seem to keep drafting these guys. Now they got Myles Garrett. I mean, they got a long tradition of hell out there.
Okay. I can take that. I could take the 80s Browns defense. I'm going to rock with Pittsburgh, though. I'm going to say the Pittsburgh, the years that the Oilers could still curtain there. They were the dirtiest to me. And I could also throw them purple people eaters in there with Minnesota back in the 70s and 60s, I think. They was nasty. All right, cool. Let's move on to the NBA, man, because we got a lot of news. But the story that everybody's talking about today was getting a lot of headlines is the Los Angeles Lakers have fired head coach Darvin Ham after only 2 seasons. Now, according to First Things First, Chris Broussard, staff member, he believes that the Lakers front offense didn't empower Ham. Let's get Chuck to play this clip, and we'll talk about this comment, and then we'll talk about some possible future head coach or head coaching candidates for the Los Angeles Lakers moving forward. Shout out to Nick Wright and
End of the season, who else was bringing up the injuries? LeBron. After they lost to the Nuggets, LeBron was like, look, it was hard to know what we could be because somebody was injured here, then we get whole, then somebody was injured again. We never were whole. I also say this, Nick, whether it's Darvin Ham or whoever, a front office can empower a coach. And they never did that with Ham. And I get it, there's no Pat Riley there. But we saw Pat Riley do it with Eric Spoelstra.
Yes.
When the players wanted him fired, he was like, look, if you're going to win, it's going to be with this guy. All right? And so they had no choice but to listen to the coach and buy in. The Lakers could have done that with Ham. But the front office is looking for a scapegoat.
That's
it's not
correct.
Right? They're looking for, let's put the blame somewhere else. And again, switching coaches every 2 years is ludicrous. End of the season, who else was bringing up the...
Okay, so good points. All right, I really want to get into this topic because I'm all the way in on what Chris Broussard is saying here, but let me share my thoughts first, and then we'll go around the table. Okay, so after 2 years, and this is what confuses me about this move. Okay, number one, in 2 years he's been to the playoffs both times, right? And they got eliminated by the world champion Denver Nuggets. Am I correct on that? Okay. So they go to the playoffs. Now, some people will counter the argument and say, but it's the Los Angeles Lakers, much like the New York Yankees, much like the Dallas Cowboys. The expectation to win is higher, okay? Because to me, Darvin Ham was successful. So that's the counter argument to my argument. Okay, I get that. Different places, I've always said it, playing for the Dallas Cowboys is not like playing for the Arizona Cardinals. I get it. Level of expectation is higher. But here's my thing. Here's the problem I have with the Lakers as an organization. I'm talking mainly to the front office. Okay. And y'all give me y'all opinion on this as a panel here. But what I have an issue with them is this, and here's what I believe. This is just my belief. Who brought in, because everything to me starts with LeBron James. Okay. Who brought in LeBron James? It was Magic Johnson, right? Magic Johnson was the one who helped get LeBron James here. Signing off with Jeannie Buss and everybody else. As an organization, they decided they wanted to get behind LeBron James. Now, in my belief, and I'm stepping out on a limb here because there's a lot of people that don't agree with me, but I'll share this on this show. Okay, Magic Johnson brings in LeBron James. Now, we all remember when Magic Johnson came in, the Lakers kind of used the same similar model. And what I mean by that is you got Magic, who's a point forward, who likes to pass first, triple-double machine, which I think LeBron is more comparable to than Jordan. I tell people that all the time about this GOAT topic. Stop comparing LeBron to Jordan. He's more of a Magic. On top of that, Magic brings him in. And then on top of that, they go get a big man who is not Kareem. He's Anthony Davis. But I'm thinking it's the same motto. We're going to build the team around LeBron, but our number one option is going to be Anthony Davis, i.e. a older Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I do think the Lakers, that's just my theory. I think the Lakers tried to relive a Magic and Kareem era. Not the same skill set, not the same players. Obviously, Kareem was more down in the paint. Davis can do a little bit more. But I think they followed through the same lens Magic did with Kareem and the Lakers. Okay. My problem with the front office is this. We're going to put everything on Ham, but you guys decided to build your team, meaning the number one option being Anthony Davis, a man who is proven to not be healthy for a whole full season. Despite the skills, despite what we know he can do, did he bring a chip? Yeah, it was the bubble chip. Okay. So how can we fire Darvin Ham and not put responsibility on the front office? Because at the end of the day, it wasn't Darvin Ham who decided to go with this model. It wasn't Darvin Ham to say, let's build around Anthony Davis and LeBron James, an older LeBron James, a modified version of LeBron James, who I think they tried to recreate a Magic and Kareem scenario. So my question is this. how is it? And I agree with Chris Broussard because they didn't empower him because he's the one that's being fired now. They never got behind him. But what did actually Darvin Ham do that was so wrong to where he gets fired and the front office don't take any responsibility? So let's start with you, Ro. How do you feel about what I just said, and how do you feel about what Chris Broussard was talking about with the Lakers and Darvin Ham?
We certainly didn't deserve to be fired. I mean, I think that goes without saying. He definitely did a commendable job. Well, he definitely did a commendable job. You know what I'm saying? With I totally lost train of thought. I saw the homeboy lost train of thought.
I saw my boy too. Shout out to Fee Sim because he just walked in.
Yeah,
with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Man, this is a little experiment.
Yeah. I mean. And I like it for that reason alone. I think what you said was dead on with the expectation of winning being high, and with Magic kind of having a direct hand and forcing Pelinka's hand. I think it was Pelinka that went to Michigan, but it's a failed experiment. But I just don't necessarily know the expectation was really to ride it that long because it was the gimmick chip. You know, you got that chip in a gimmick year. You crafted that team in a gimmick year, so to speak. It really wasn't built to last long term. But I mean, I admire. I've heard some other spicy rumors, some interesting stories about him pairing up with the rookie freak down there that are a lot more interesting. And I think at the end of the day, y'all fired Darvin Ham for no reason, which is no bueno, simply because that's another black coach that deserved a shot that really did a decent job and has been inexplicably fired. I mean, Adrian Gill, they starting to add up. Where it's like, wait a minute, where's the disconnect with management?
And see, that's why are you
being scapegoated?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's my point. That's my point because it's like, okay, you fire Darvin Ham, you bring in anybody, and we're gonna talk about candidates next, who should be the next coach. But it's like, okay. And this is where it's getting me. Again, number one, and I hope everybody's seen this in the NBA. Unibrow, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Joel Embiid. All three of them have two things in common. They're never healthy for the postseason. Number two, each one of those teams, Lakers, 76ers, and the Clippers, they all have built their team around these guys. So when these guys are not there healthy, that alters how the team works. So it doesn't matter what coach you bring in. If you built your team around the number one guy that's not there, you're going to fail. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy to me. Like, what we're firing Darvin Ham because of what? What did he not get done with this group that he deserved to be fired? Where is the responsibility? Because contrary to what you believe, I've said this before and I'm going to stand on this. And I'll say this for the 76ers, as good as Joel Embiid is, I am learning that when I look at, and we bias, all these jerseys and things up here are from the 90s. Our heroes come from the 90s. Elijah Warren, Jordan, Shaq. You know, the common denominator between our heroes is they were there. They were healthy. You know why the Chicago Bulls could give the organization to Michael Jordan? Because Michael Jordan was there 82 games of the season. So it's just dawning on me, like, these NBA organizations are handcuffing themselves to guys as franchise players who are not there, who are hurt. You know, so I don't know. I just feel bad. Cole, what do you think about this situation with Darvin Ham and the Los Angeles Lakers?
I think it's unfair. I think that Darvin Ham is he's been dealt bad cards. I felt like a bad hand. I feel like with the Lakers team, it's a mix of young and old. A lot of players who are journeymen. I feel like a lot of players who've been inconsistent throughout their whole career. A lot of players have been injured throughout their whole career. You have Anthony Davis, who I feel like, I don't remember the last season he played 70 games.
That's my point. Exactly. And that's the thing. And I don't mean to cut you off. I'm gonna let you go. That's exactly my point. Because here's the thing. Even if he gets hurt a lot, if he's not a main
But he
player,
played 76 games this season, though.
yeah, but he not 100%.
It didn't feel like it.
It didn't feel
And
like
he
it.
averaged like 25 that whole time.
Nah, Chuck. He been hurt.
I know he's been hurt. He
Been
played
hurt.
in the finals hurt, but I'm just saying numbers. If we're gonna look at black and white, and he played 76
No,
games
okay.
and he averaged.
And I'm glad you
25.
bring
What
up
was the year before? What was the year before? I know he didn't play 70 games.
Hold on. Because I'm glad he brought up that point. Because somebody that would counter my argument with that would say that. Here's what I'll say to that. His points, though, everything that he's given, and I'm gonna go back to the Joel Embiid example. Yeah, he's giving you 25 points. Joel Embiid gave you 30 points in the playoffs against the Knicks, but guess what? The Knicks kept getting offensive rebounds because he was hurt. And Anthony Davis is the same way. Or even if we just want to go, let's just take out the injuries for Anthony Davis. Sometimes he give you 25 points, and sometimes he don't even score in the second half. He's had a couple of games where he's played where he didn't score in the second half. My biggest point is this. The front office is the one who put this team together. They're the ones who made Anthony Davis the number one option on this team. Go ahead, Cole. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
No, I think that mixed with, putting so much pressure on LeBron to be the alpha dog, where he's no longer the alpha dog. Me and you've been arguing about this for the last 2-3 years, where I said LeBron puts up points, but they're not the impactful points that take over games and win games. And
yeah, but Cole, to that point, though, and you're right, he's not the same, but to that point, that's my point. That's what I keep saying about
Davis needs to do.
Yeah, well, that's what the team is built for. I told you when they came 2 years ago when I watched them come here and Davis didn't play. And I'm sitting there watching them and I'm like, why is LeBron passing the ball so much? And that's why everybody gets so mad about the Jordan comparison, because I'm sitting there saying Jordan would have 60-something points this game. Why is he? And he still had 29 points, 15 rebounds. He had a triple-double. But my point is this. He wasn't looking to shoot the ball because like Magic wasn't looking to shoot the ball. He was looking to get everybody else involved. So I'm looking at their team like they suck. Well, everybody was on the team. Everybody was used to giving the ball to Anthony Davis and he make a play happen. And so that's how that team was built. LeBron gets 40 points, but he really doesn't want to do that. He wants to be Magic Johnson. He wants to get 20 points. He wants to get 17 assists and 9 rebounds. That's how LeBron sees himself as sustaining his career. That's what he wants to do. That's why he okayed this setup for AD to be the number one option coming down. I can preserve my career and I can be Magic. Remember, Magic helped build this. I think the Lakers were following that model of Magic and Kareem. Because when Magic came to the Lakers, even out of the draft, Magic wasn't coming to be the number one scoring option. He came to be the point guard, the leader. And he was still going to get Big Fella the ball. He just had to convince Big Fella, we're not going to always go to you, but I'm going to orchestrate it. I'm going to get everybody else involved because Magic's biggest thing is to make people better. Now, Kareem get hurt. Have no fear with Magic with the boombox. Shout out to the winning team on HBO.
Shout out to HBO.
You know what I'm saying? When Magic got on that flight and Kareem messed up his ankle, Magic was like, don't worry about it. I could do this. And Magic can do that, much like LeBron can do that. He can turn it on 40 points when need be. But Magic didn't come to the Lakers to be the top scorer. Magic came to the Lakers to bring showtime, to make these other guys, Big Fella, I got the ball. I'm going to get you the ball where you get better. That's what LeBron's role was supposed to be with this Lakers team. Everything was supposed to go through Anthony Davis because of his skill set. But he has failed to do that. Well, who put him in the number one spot? Because contrary to what people believe, the Pelicans never put him in that spot. The Pelicans knew what he was. He was a Robin to another Batman. So that's what I'm saying. Darvin Ham is basically getting fired because that experiment with Anthony Davis being the number one player, whether it be health or him not showing up, didn't work. It didn't work. And despite his inconsistent play, they still got to the playoffs and lost to who? The world champion Denver Nuggets. Both years. So that's my point. It's like, and guess what? Just to add to my point, the Clippers got to make a decision. Because you know what? Since Kawhi Leonard has been there, he has not been healthy once in the postseason. Since Joel Embiid has been there for the Phillies, he has not been healthy in the postseason. It's that. It's organizations.
How good you think Clippers looked without Kawhi?
It doesn't matter. They didn't win.
I mean, I know they didn't, but I'm just saying. I was telling this to wife. I said, man, it looked like PG and Harden. It ain't enough balls in the gym for Pauls for all three of them. You know what I'm saying?
But see, even then, that's my point.
That's why I think Kawhi should go. All that PG trade talk I'm hearing.
Yeah,
PG but get off Kawhi.
You're right. That's a good point. But at the end of the day, we all know who's supposed to be taking those shots.
Oh yeah,
it's supposed to be Kawhi. And every year they cannot be what they built their team to be. So now you asking Harden to do stuff that he can't do anymore. Now you putting a little bit more pressure when Harden and PG are both Robins. They not Batman. When Batman ain't there, yeah, Robin can save the city a couple of times. But can he actually keep Gotham City safe? No. PG and Harden have proven that they are Robins. And when you don't have your Batman, I mean, it's just so simple. That's why we love the 90s, because Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan. Akeem Olajuwon, they just needed some sidekicks. But guess what? One of the things you got to be as the man, if we're going to build your team around it, and I hope NBA organizations, I know what I'm talking about. I know I done kind of took over this topic a little bit, but I know what I'm talking about. NBA organizations got to start coming down to it. One of the things you got to have to be that guy is you got to be there. Every year, Joel Embiid goes through this. He's hurt. So the whole offseason, he has to rehab. He's not getting in shape. He's rehabbing. Get to the season, he's finally healthy. He shows us some supernatural things, and then boom, what happens? He gets hurt because he's not in shape, because instead of getting in shape in the offseason, what is he doing? He's rehabbing. Philadelphia 76ers get to the playoffs this year against the Knicks. How many offensive rebounds they had? Because Joel Embiid couldn't jump, because he wasn't in shape, because he spent his offseason rehabbing instead of getting in shape. Los Angeles Clippers. I don't know if they would beat Dallas, but I'm pretty sure a healthy Kawhi, they have a good chance of beating Dallas, right? A healthy Kawhi, we throw the ball down to the post 15 foot. He's a genius. That's why Toronto won, because he was there. He was there. He was there. He's not there. Same thing that happens in LA. They get beat in the first round. I mean, you went to go see the Mavericks. Are they even in the second round if Luka ain't there?
No, sir. No,
exactly.
No, sir.
Exactly. So your number one guy ain't there. Same thing with the Lakers. Darvin Ham is being fired because Anthony Davis was not consistent and he wasn't there. They went to the playoffs both years. They lost to the world champions.
I think Darvin Ham being fired because of bad decisions from the previous administration. Like letting go Kuzma and them and keeping Reeves and all of them.
But that's my point.
That wasn't Darvin Ham's fault.
That's my point.
So he getting fired for that. Because had you kept them and got the same 76 games and 25 points from AD and the same 25 points from Bronny, you kept that old squad.
No.
We having a different conversation.
No. No matter how you put it, Anthony Davis cannot be your top guy. I don't care what numbers he is not your top guy. I'm telling you, you could put Michael Jordan on that team. And if you giving Anthony Davis the ball and saying you the number one option, you're going to lose. It don't matter. How many people they done switched out on their team? 1,000. Who's been the two people that stayed there? LeBron 80. LeBron been doing his thing as much as you expect him to do at 35 years old. Who been underperforming, despite what the numbers say? Like, this man came in the media and said, I didn't even touch a ball in the offseason. That's your number one guy. While Jordan, shoot, in the middle of Space Jam, what'd he say? I ain't gonna stop working out. Build me a gym for Space Jam.
So I can practice.
And then the next season they went 72-10. That's who I want as my number one guy. Not because he the jump man. It's because the man gonna be there and he gonna do his thing. You think Jared Krause is that good of a GM, it looked like it because guess what? The guy that he invested in, the number one guy, was there. And he was giving you everything he's supposed to. Think about the playoffs. When you go to playoffs, as a number one player, you should be able to give your team your season average in the playoffs. You should be able to do it. Kawhi can't do that right now.
Nope.
He ain't there. So that's my point. That's why I think Darvin Ham is being fired, is because they invested in Anthony Davis, I think. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. But with that said, Cole, let's start with you. Who should the Lakers hire as their new coach?
I think that they just need to stop fronting and give Mark Jackson a chance. I think that that's the type of coach that can
Give me a hand clap on that.
That can hold LeBron and AD accountable. I think there's certain people who have that personality about them that people receive their criticism and don't take it from a place that's negative. And I think that's where the issue comes in. I think they keep bringing in these coaches that don't have no
they're yes men.
Not even a yes man. They don't have a reputation yet. Like, it's like, who are you? I used to play with you. Like, you were a bum when I played with you. Like, who, Darvin Ham? Come on now. And now
you ain't got to be a good player to be a good coach.
But I'm just saying, I can see how some of these players might look at that. Like, I can see Anthony Davis getting mad in practice. Like, you weren't better than me. You were never even the All-Star. Like, I can see them talking.
And to that point, that's what Kyrie said he respected about Jason Kidd. He respected him as a player. And, like, now that Jason Kidd's the coach in Dallas, Kyrie did say that. So that's a good point you bring up.
Yeah. I think so. At the end of the day, I think that someone like Mark Jackson would be fine. I also think definitely stay away from Doc Rivers if he get fired, because I don't know. I don't know how many times he could get a chance in this league. It's kind of sad, man. They're talking about the guy from Boston, the assistant coach. But again, this is a brand new coach. I'm like, I don't know. If you're going to bring a brand new coach into the league, then try someone like a Jay Wright, someone who's won in college, or try someone like Hurley at Connecticut, or, someone like that. I think that would be a better fit for the Lakers, a bigger name from college that's been a winner that you still have to respect. So,
and then to your point, what I just said, didn't Mark Jackson convince the Golden State Warriors? Just to my point, didn't Mark Jackson convince the Golden State Warriors to do a regime change from Monte Ellis to Steph Curry? Wasn't he responsible for that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that my? That's my point.
Wait, but
that's my point. That was my point. Because Nelly and them, hold on, listen to me. Don Nelson and them rolled with Monte Ellis.
Was that BD and them's team?
BD, Captain Jack, when they had that nice little run.
Donald Fall.
Right. When Mark Jackson came in there, he told them we need to change. We need to get away from Monte Ellis, and we need to bring in this kid, low D1 kid from Davidson and Klay Thompson. Mark Jackson was the one responsible for that.
Friday, nice. For real,
yeah.
Kerr got the credit. Forgot about Mark Jackson.
And,
shout out to fam.
And even Kerr said that. Kerr said, no, Mark Jackson built this team. Mark Jackson did build this team.
Yeah, that's real.
Who do you think should be the candidate? Some candidates for that job.
I mean, because we know it's such a shit job, and the expectations are so unrealistically high. Because, like you said, we do it all the time. Shout out to HBO and Winning Time, because they showed us the paradigm and how that goes.
Exactly.
Then, and we all got really enamored with it, and I understand that. So it is unrealistic. It's extremely unrealistic expectations on it. However, I believe in what my man's been sitting here telling y'all is flawed foundationally, to be honest. It's kind of flawed at its inception. And to keep just going around the ring about it is cool. And I guess if given that team being intact, that if you return the same team here, yes, I agree with Cole. I'd like to see a black man, Mark Jackson, Rajon Rondo, anybody you got black on the list that can get the job and get another look. That's cool with me. Outside of that, I'd say the only white guy that deserves any distinction on it is Mike Budenholzer, because it's like he won with Giannis and Middleton, which is not all the way commensurate matchup of talent in terms of things. It's kind of like looking in the funhouse mirror, at like a successful and a dysfunctional duo. Shout out to Brun and AD, because I ain't got no problem with none of you boys, man. I'm telling you, I'll just kind of sit and look at it from a special vantage point because I'm able to appreciate it on different levels, which is, why I can see the multifaceted side of it. Darvin, you don't deserve that shit. Cole called him a bum. Like he wasn't even a bum playing. I remember him dunking and breaking the backboard on Carolina and Texas Tech. Darvin Ham is a G. You know what I'm saying? And man,
that was the highlight of his life.
he had some years in Denver too. Don't make me pull my man's out. Don't make me call him out. But I mean, if it's gonna be a coaching carousel, because it's like, did Vogel really deserve to lose a job in the first place when he won the bubble chip? Yeah. Like, nah, they just that coach has been a straw man there, and like Bake said, the problem is with the GM and who they bringing in there. They trying to replicate something that cannot be replicated. And
so to my point. And Cole, give me a score check on the Knicks right now, because I'm going to go to the Knicks on my point.
33-32, they losing.
129.
Okay, all right. So to my point, and Cole know I've been screaming this. I told Cole this within the last 2 years. I said, listen, the New York Knicks are gonna come back to superstar. And I said, it starts with that number one guy. I said, Bronson is the guy. And here's the thing. I don't even know if we can give Tibbs all the credit, but I told Cole, as an organization, New York finally got it right. They built their team around a superstar who's tough, who's gritty, who's skilled, but he's there. And he's given a consistent performance every night. Now look at
night. He ain't all in the videos.
Exactly,
he ain't all Hollywood.
Exactly. So, but that comes from the front office picking that number one guy. Yeah. That's what it is all about. It comes from the front.
They drafted him?
No, they trade. Remember, they got him from Dallas. Remember, Dallas let him go. Dallas pretty much let him go, and I told Cole, I said that's going to turn y'all franchise around. I don't know why Dallas did that.
They got him for Hardaway, huh?
I can't remember who they got him for. Cole, who did they get Bronson for in that trade?
We got him in free agency, actually.
Right. Dallas didn't want to pay him. Dallas didn't want to pay him. They didn't think he was worth the money he was asking.
He showed up as a live Robin to Luka's Batman then.
He was a big key off the bench, and they didn't think he wanted starter dollars, and they didn't think he was worth starter dollars.
And he was hitting 40s.
Exactly. And I told Cole this when they picked him up. I said, that's going to make y'all that you found your guy now. You found your guy.
Because it ain't Randall, like I said.
Exactly. And there's no disrespect to Randall, but I've been telling Cole that. And again, it all comes down to that. I think Mark Jackson deserves a look at this coaching job, simply because I think he's the one that caused the trajectory for the Golden State Warriors. Anybody else on this list? I would say Tyronn Lue, but I know the Clippers ain't going to let him walk next door.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
They can afford they
right. And I think they gotta fix some front office issues,
internal issues.
Right. They're gonna have to. I think they should move away from Kawhi.
I think they both have bad GMs.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly,
exactly. They gotta fix some issues.
Wrong talent. They've switched pieces out.
Right.
All but two pieces.
I can understand you saying Budenholzer. I'm not ready for Rondo yet. But I think it's Mark Jackson, Tyronn Lue.
Who's ready for Rondo over Riddick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not even looking at
Redick shouldn't even get a job.
Exactly. I'm not even looking at Redick. I mean, you can sound good in the broadcasting booth. I can sound good. I don't know what I'm talking about in the broadcasting booth, and he's been outspoken and all that. I ain't buying all of that. Like, you ain't won nothing in the NBA. You were a shooter. Were a shooter.
Or Adrian Griffin. Adrian Griffin got a bad shake in
because look how the Bucks are looking without him. They started off 30-13 with him, and because he didn't appeal to, he was making the superstars mad. The Bucks went with the superstars and said, "No, let's get rid of the coach." But they were 30-13, and he was challenging Giannis and Leonard to play better, and he got fired, and they went first place. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Whether you favorite, and I mess with Cole a lot of times when Cole be like, no, I would trade him. And I'm like, Cole, you tripping. But I get what Cole is saying, though. Like, Cole is like, sometimes, man, you can't favor these players. Sometimes you can't do that. But anyway, but shout out to the chat, man. We got some new people in the chat.
Yeah, shout out to Crystal King. Yeah, shout out to Crystal King. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure y'all subscribing.
That's right. That's right.
Shout out to PAT Knicks. We live right now. Appreciate y'all tapped in.
That's right. That's right. And let me say this before we move on, and we might need to take a commercial break after this, Chuck. But even in football, if y'all remember the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they won the championships with Sapp, Derrick Brooks, who built that team? Tony Dungy.
And John Gruden got that.
And then
chip.
John Gruden got the credit. Then when Tony Dungy went to the Colts, didn't they win again?
That.
He built that.
Got rid of him again.
Right. But when we back at the Bucs, that's arguably one of the best defenses ever assembled. Well, Tony Dungy built that. You see what I'm saying? So I think Darvin Ham was unjustly fired, but the Lakers as an organization have to look at themselves. I think they tried to follow the Magic and Kareem model. That's just my whole thing, and it didn't work. You can follow that if your number one player is that guy, and I don't think he's that guy. All right, Chuck, you want to go to commercial, or should we keep going?
Yeah, let's go to commercial.
All right, I know I was talking a lot, but, you know, it is debate with bait.
Yo, rep the movement with Mo Serious Fashions. Copy your fresh snapback or hoodie or a tee. All representing the Mo City Podcast, Debate with Bake, or Gloves Up, Guns Down. Everything is custom made with love from our top-notch manufacturers. We got a dope range of colors and sizes to fit your vibe. Everything from blue, red, green, black, white, and more. Rep the Mo and keep it fresh, fam. Hit up moseries.com/merchandise and order today. Let's go.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Go to moseries.com, copy a snapback. I got mine on. I got my green Mo City Podcast snapback on with my WBC shirt green. We going green belt all day today. Y'all know I'm a fan of boxing, but shout out to moseries.com. Check us out. Go on there and get you a fitted. You know, get you some gear, man. Support us. We moving all the way in. All right, let's stay in the NBA. I gotta ask this question because I want everybody's opinion. Starting with you, Cole. Who was the biggest disappointment this season between the Phoenix Suns or the Milwaukee Bucks?
I think the Phoenix Suns. Milwaukee, I wasn't really worried about Milwaukee. I felt like Dame seemed like he's on the downside of his career, like he's coming down. I'm not saying he's not still a great player, but he's not what he used to be, what we're used to seeing Dame to be. Phoenix just let me down because, one, they got swept. Like, how are you going to get swept? With a Hall of Famer, one of the best two guards in the league, possibly Devin Booker is a top 15 player in the league. And then you have Bradley Beal, who's making almost $200 million a year, probably. You can't lose with a team like that with three players getting paid that much, who's been all-stars throughout their career in this league. And I think that's where all these teams are going wrong, trying to create these super teams instead of developing and creating a team. So that's my opinion.
All right, Ro, let's go with you right quick. Who's the biggest disappointment, the Suns or the Bucks this year?
Well, immediately I'd go for the easy money and just say Phoenix. I mean, they've been a disaster since the inception. It was the wrong idea. Who the fuck is Bradley Beal? Who is this guy? I missed these games. How the fuck did he really do? I'm so serious. How did he do this shit, man? Like I said, I caught a lot of them Wizards games, man. And you know who I saw? I saw John Wall. I ain't see what Brad Beal was doing. What did he do to command this job? And he's the albatross hanging over the team. I'm going real hard on him because, fuck you. You got 200 in the bank, man. You don't care what I'm talking about. But we might talk about who's the most underrated. Why are you so overrated? Explain this to me. Why did you come so highly touted? Why did they think you were the guy? The last guy, the kid of Kogi on the bench. It's a lot of guys who really, really putting up what you putting up at a maximum. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry, like, 'cause I feel a lot about that because I mean, the most disappointing team of the season was, I'd say, the Milwaukee Bucks, though. Simply from the standpoint, because that Phoenix shit was flawed from the start. It's like Kevin Durant can go, but he can go anywhere. That's what he did. You knew what you was getting. Book can go from anywhere. You what he getting, but you know what? You fired Monty. You did some other inexplicable shit. You sent Camp Thomas. Y'all sent a whole bunch of pieces away. You got mad at Aiden for playing video games or something ridiculous. It's like y'all are playing the video game in the front office out there, man, fucking up. Phoenix, that's on you all the way. Like you said, it's an embarrassment. You got fucking. I mean, even though probably I want Minnesota to win it all. Don't get me wrong, but y'all boy put up nothing. Y'all ain't do nothing with them boy. And like I said, I put it squarely on that boy Bill, man, because that's the one out y'all got on that way. Well, we didn't know what we were gonna get. We didn't know how it was gonna go. Well, Bradley Beal was an all-star. Like who? That sound like a video game. That sound like a nigga on Clue. Like who? But anyway, Milwaukee, because like I said, the Stars couldn't stay healthy at the end of the day, and they didn't get swept. And you saw what a veteran team in Core could do because they pushed Indiana, a young Indiana team, to the limit, who was clearly better at that point. So I'd say that was disappointing for them because they were a true 3 seed in the game anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like New York, give thanks that them boys did not stay healthy. You know what I'm saying? They were not in the mix because they are a much more viable threat than a Philadelphia or even an Indiana was. Like I said, a team with Giannis and a healthy Dame on it, y'all would have been quaking in your boots and behind that one.
Yeah. Go ahead, Cole. You was about to say something?
My fault.
I would say the league just better be happy Julius Randle's injured. NBA champion.
Shout out to Randle
because he watching the game right now. Don't let him get off the topic, man, because he want to push this New York Blue. Let me say what I gotta say. We're gonna get to the Knicks because I got a question about you with the
Randle
Knicks.
might throw their shit off, to be honest with you.
Exactly. But hey, let me tell you something. I did tell him that. But for me, it's the Phoenix Suns, and the chat is agreeing. I think everybody in the chat, along with Cole, and I think Ro is saying the same thing. It's the Phoenix Suns. For me, for Milwaukee, it was a lot of injuries. That coaching change in the middle of the season also threw everything off. For me, it's Phoenix. And I'm going to tell you why. I agree with Ro. I do think that Bradley Beal, and I was excited about these trades. I'm not going to lie. I was excited about these trades when Beal came over and the team up. But for me, it's as much as Ro was going on his rant, he made a lot of sense. Like, now you got to look at yourself and say, how do you justify paying Bradley Beal all of that money? Number one, I'm not going to even say he underperformed, but again, I just talked about it. He was hurt all year.
Oh,
Number two,
I said.
Yeah.
All right.
Number two, and I've said this, and Cole think I'm hard, but I'm gonna stick to my guns. If your team, if Kevin Durant is your number one guy, and I'm not talking about him not being the best player on your team. Well, let me rephrase that. Kevin Durant is only going to score points. He's not going to do anything else. And see, here's the thing, Ro. It actually could work with Bradley Beal.
Okay.
It could actually work. I'm going to tell you why. The Suns are not winning because, in my opinion, the guy that can give you more, I say, is Durant. And the reason why, and that this has been my biggest.
Give you more though? That's tough.
Yeah, because this is what I've said about Durant. Think about this. It worked in Golden State. He won championships in Golden State because all he had to do was score. They had everything in place. What they needed is what he brought. Golden State, what they needed is they needed a guy to get buckets. But if your team is not built like Golden State, you're not going to win with him being the top guy because all he wants to do is score. They could do it if he would rebound more, if he would be more of a playmaker, if he was more of a present defensively. And he can do that by his size and his
It
athleticism.
really was. Anthony Edwards cooking that boy for the majority.
Exactly. And I'm not even, let's just say even defensively, he doesn't do anything. But he's
big.
But
that hurts.
But he's 7 foot tall.
Exactly.
He could rebound more.
Exactly. That's
he could
what
do
I'm
more.
saying.
So it could work as bad as Bill played or as much as Bill wasn't available. I've always said this, and Cole gonna knock me on it. You can't win with him being your top guy.
And they did the same thing LA did, and they shuffling the coaches.
Win with him. And here's the thing: unlike Anthony Davis, he is there. But what is it with him? It's 40 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists at 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
At 7 feet tall, and he started to prove me right. Oklahoma City, he was the number 1 guy. They didn't win. Brooklyn, he was the number 1 guy. He didn't win. Now we in Phoenix, he the number 1 guy. They don't win. When are people going to start holding him accountable? It's him.
You feel me?
It's him. Because here's the thing.
Like Odell, he got his chips, and now it's just he's a unanimous shooting. Which is
the thing about it is this, and I'm a little biased because he burnt me. Oklahoma City was my team, and the reason why we didn't beat Golden State is because you shut down in Game 6. Russ gave you everything. Ibaka gave you everything. You shut down. Then you go join them. You win a championship over there because, like Shannon Sharp said, I've been saying it. Shannon Sharp said on Undisputed back in the day. He can only win when the structure is set. Golden State knew that they needed somebody because at the end of the day, Clay and Steph are really shooters. They're really not guys that go get buckets like you want them to. But Golden State knew we just need a guy to get buckets. We got defense. We got passing. We got shooting. And that's why he got a chip in Golden State, because all he had to do was give us 35 points with 2 rebounds.
They upgraded Harrison Barnes.
Exactly. They had a structure. But when he goes to Brooklyn, they don't win because they don't have that structure Golden State. It's the same thing in Phoenix. It's like you got Booker, like Cole said, one of the best 2 guards in the league. Bill is not what we thought. But at the end of the day, if KD was giving you a triple-double, it wouldn't matter what Bill was doing.
Look at all of what they didn't let get out the door.
Exactly, because
like they didn't send
that's my point.
Much talent out of the door.
Because they mortgaged that for Kevin Durant. I'm telling you, it's Durant.
Yeah, those were the pieces.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's Kevin Durant.
Because
it's Kevin
Thomas
Durant
is balling in.
Exactly. It's Kevin Durant. Your number 1 guy gotta be the guy. He can't just score points.
And they traded for him.
Exactly. It's not gonna work.
And then paired Booker. Booker is the only salvageable piece.
Exactly.
New York better make a run at that before he get too corrupted, because it's like y'all paired him up with
But I just want people in the media to, when are we gonna start holding Durant accountable? Because other than Golden State, it's been the same results. You could blame Bill. You could blame Booker. But what's the common denominator?
I keep my thoughts to myself on Durant, man. That boy's a troll to the fullest. I hesitate to say all I want to say about KD, man. Shout out to KD. Hey, we cool, man. You be hooping. You got your hustle. And it's like, ain't no need to go in my thoughts. I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself. But yeah, it's a lot can be said.
Exactly. Let's go to the next topic. Cole, give me a game check, man.
44-44.
Tied up first quarter?
Second quarter.
Why would I think the Knicks was 40 points?
You know what? Randall would help them now.
Hey, hold on. Let's not get into that. Let's not fire him up because he already looking at the screen like he's about to cry. All right, Cole, I want to get the chat's opinion. I want to get everybody's opinion on this next topic. This come home to H-Town. Let's start with you first, Ro. Both Jimmy Butler and Paul George are going to be available this year in the offseason. If you the Rockets, out of those 2, who do you take and why? Let's start with you, Ro.
All right. If
you got Paul George and Jimmy Butler available via free agency. Now, think about what you got going on in Houston right now. You got Green that's starting to come into his own. You got a coach that you finally riding with. But you do need a veteran superstar.
See, I need the toughness. You already know where I'm going. I got to take Jimmy. I got to take Tombo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was thinking about it, and I'm super enamored with Paul. there's a right situation for Paul out there somewhere, and unfortunately, it's just not here. There's no knock on him. He proved a lot about himself this playoff run alone, in terms of his marketability, and him joining the right situation. He's bound to be successful to a large degree.
Right.
But I just got to take Jimmy
Taking
Buckets.
Jimmy.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he would fit seamlessly into what Udoka is trying to get these young guys together and do. He could do nothing but good for the franchise, as well as share the court with Jalen Green, with a young developing Jalen Green. So it's like, with all the pieces we have in place and not sacrifice anything, I think Jimmy integrates seamlessly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Paul would be nice, but they're not really. Those are like problems I don't necessarily need in Houston right now.
Cole, what you think? Out of Jimmy and Paul George, if you the Rockets, who you taking? Why?
I take Paul George only because I feel like he has a little bit more gas than Jimmy in his tank. Jimmy's been, kind of banged up. He doesn't really play full seasons anymore. He just tries to preserve himself for the playoffs, which is the most important time of the year. But I think when you're trying to develop a team, and especially in the West, you in the West, he has to play a lot in order for y'all to make the playoffs, because the West is tight. There's so many teams that are so good. I think you're probably better off with Paul George at this point in his career. I think he'll play more games than Jimmy Butler. And I also think he has a better tool set. I just think Jimmy Butler has more grit, but that grit only matters when in the playoffs. And I don't know if y'all can get to the playoffs if he's only playing 50 games, 55 games a season.
So, Cole, do you think Paul George fits better with Jalen Green? If you get to keep Green, you think Paul is a better fit than Jimmy?
I think he is, and I'll tell you my reasoning for that, for saying that, is because he's taller, he's more versatile. I think he could play 4 positions versus Jimmy could play 3. I think he brings more versatility to your offense. So
that's a good point. I agree with both of y'all, man. Like I do think Jimmy fits, like Rose said, I do think Jimmy fits Udoka's makeup as far as what he wants for this team.
Mm-hmm.
But you bring up a superb point that I didn't think about, Cole. I do think Paul George can play multiple positions. The question I have for Paul George, much like Jimmy, probably, because Jimmy is adopting that persona, that playoff Jimmy Butler. For Paul George, it's the availability. My whole thing to this is, if the Rockets are truly going to push Jalen Green as the franchise player, if he's earned that in Udoka's eyes, then I do think you roll with Paul George, and I'll tell you why. I think Paul George is a perfect Robin. I don't think Paul George should be a number 1 player. If Jalen Green is ready to take the ranks, and it'll be strictly on the Rockets to determine that, I think Paul George is the right pick. It's hard to argue with Rowe in terms of toughness, because I know Jimmy is probably more of a Udoka type of player, toughness, grit. But if Jalen Green is ready to be that guy, and judging based on the last part of the season for the Rockets, he looks like he's there, almost there to be the number 1 guy, then it's Paul George for me. Because for Paul George, you get a 6'9" guy who can play multiple positions. Like Cole said, I think the Rockets do need help with bigger athletic guys. But I think Paul George has a multiple set of skills that could benefit the Rockets. Only if Jalen Green is ready to take the number 1 ranks as the franchise player. That's the question the Rockets have to ask if they take Paul George. If he's ready to do so, I think Paul George fits in perfectly in that number 2 spot. And I also think he can, along with Udoka, he can also help tutor Jalen Green and those young players. Both of those guys, Jimmy Butler and Paul George, bring a veteran presence that the Rockets need. They do need a veteran superstar. I think it depends on Jalen Green. If Jalen Green is ready to take that number 1 spot, and again, judging by the last part of the season, I think he helped catapult the Rockets to 11-game winning streak. They were tiptoeing almost to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They made a drastic turnaround. And I think for Green, Coach Udoka has been well. He's been good for him. He's held him accountable, and he's responded to the task.
See, we got 2 new bigs coming in the mix. We got Steven Adams coming in the mix, and then
Right.
Sengun gonna be back. So
Right.
it's like,
who fits within that group? Exactly.
Definitely, I'd say definitely a Jimmy though.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, like I
he's
said,
used to playing with Bam even.
yeah. But the thing about Jimmy, and I do think Jimmy fits. I think both of them work. It's just who's the best fit. I think Jimmy works because Jimmy will bring that culture that the Rockets need.
right,
That tough Miami Heat.
and he will not be able to impart that on the Paul. You kind of change your identity up a little bit when you try to integrate him.
I do get
and
that.
there's no knock on Paul. I'm totally enamored with Paul. I'm just saying.
I think for me, again, if Green is not ready, let's say Green becomes a part of a package that leaves, then you definitely bring in Jimmy.
So you're gonna have to bring in. You put Green as part of either one of the package to bring either one of those guys in. Way I see it, if
Well,
you really want to.
I just think for me, you make a great point though, Ro. Y'all both make great points. I get it because I get it exactly what you're saying, Jimmy. I just think Jimmy would fit with what Udoka's trying to do. This team needs toughness, it needs grit, and I think Jimmy is one of the toughest guys in the league, and he's a two-way player, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But to Cole's point, I think Paul, you get more with Paul skill-wise, but you don't take that gamble with Paul unless you know Green is ready, in my opinion. I just think
it makes him more versatile, but he's just. And I've seen him lock boys up, so that's no knock on his D.
Yeah.
But it's like
I get what you're saying, though. I get exactly. Both of y'all make some great points. I definitely, Ro, I get what you're saying because when I first put this on here, I was like, it's definitely Jimmy. I've been wanting Jimmy since the Harden days.
basically.
You know what I'm saying? But what you get with Paul George is you get a bona fide all-star. You get versatility. You bring experience. Again, if Jalen Green is ready, I think that's exactly what Paul George is his number 2 guy. But
I'm glad you answered that for me. Because
Good.
I was gonna be like, hell no, because I want the focus to be on Jalen Green.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, if you bring in Jimmy, then Jalen automatically become Robin.
See, and boys forget about Oklahoma City Paul George, the Dame Lillard kicked out the playoffs. It's like Paul George, he ain't really proven much either. Like that's part of his fail. I mean, that ain't all on Kawhi, and that ain't all on Paul George either. Don't get me wrong. Paul George showed me a lot. Again, nobody would have beat Dallas that series, but in my honest, humble opinion. He and Harden both showed me that they still have a gear left to be desired. That's what's going to be interesting, free agent wise, what the Clippers decide to do with their team. Period. Because agreed, they need to blow it up. You got to really kind of start with Kawhi, but y'all are already married to a certain degree for a certain amount of time, and I don't know. But Paul really hadn't showed me that much either till recently.
But think about what Cole said because it's another good point by Cole. You got to be worried about Jimmy with the miles. You got to be worried about Jimmy with the miles. And what I mean by that is
Paul got the same mind.
Yeah, but Paul has done more production-wise than what Jimmy's done lately.
But Jimmy plays in a weak East.
Exactly.
Paul Jimmy can put up numbers in the right situation.
But you got to ask yourself, if Jimmy putting up weak numbers in the East, how's he going to grind it out in the West with those kind of miles?
But that's what I'm saying. Udoka's style is more of a East Coast style, if you will, being a hard-nosed, defensive oriented team. But they can just score. They have, and soon we'll have the toughness added with. You double up. If you get a player like Steven Adams and a Jimmy Butler integrated into the mix, two super enforcer veterans, assuming that Sengun and Jalen Green are ready to ascend.
But how much miles do you expect Steven Adams to have in the season? With Jimmy?
He's just coming off of he's constantly been in shape. This is just you're gonna.
He's gonna be healthy.
The latter had been he had missed a season. How old is
Steven Adams though? That's what I'm saying. Y'all got to remember
he wasted a lot of time in OKC and in
exactly
what's called. But LeBron is giving us the paradigm. These boys can play 20 years.
But LeBron is different. You can't compare every veteran to LeBron. LeBron is different. That's what's making him his case for the
paradigm
GOAT.
Is there. That's his case for GOAT.
I'm just saying
we share opinion. We share opinions.
No. I'm saying his case for GOAT is his longevity. That's what I'm saying. That's what makes him. Not a lot of 40-year-olds can do that.
2. I like being the Magic
Yeah, but
Johnson
not a lot of
2.0.
40-year-olds can do that. But I'm just saying, if Jalen Green, here's the thing. That's why I say, as an organization, you got to make that decision. If Jalen Green is going to continue, if you think he can continue doing what he's doing, don't you think you need a number 2 player to come in, a veteran number 2 player?
See, Paul doesn't cost number 2 numbers.
But does Jimmy?
Number 2 numbers? I think so. Jimmy's a pretty humble dude. He would come back.
But who's better though? Skill-wise, who's better is Paul.
In terms of skills, pound for pound, but that's like debating Kyrie versus AI's potential. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean that's not even fair. But I mean, I see what you're saying.
I get I want both. I think both of them are a good fit. I'm just saying,
but for us in particular,
I'm just saying this.
Like,
if you think Jalen Green is there, I think Paul George. See, for me, my opinion, Paul George's best part of his career is when he was playing Robin. Not Indiana. Paul.
I liked Indiana Paul.
Yeah, but
before the leg break. Before he broke the leg.
Yeah, but they didn't really do nothing.
And they didn't in OKC.
I think that was a Batman Paul, not even a Robin Paul in Indiana.
And Paul collectively ain't done nothing since. That's what I'm saying.
But to your point, a Batman Paul is no good to me. He ain't proved himself as a Batman Paul.
And he was not, but still, I mean, and the numbers he's putting up, even in comparison, it's like, I don't think that he's really, I mean, did he have a real banner year? Was he close to the league leader in scoring?
I mean, yeah, he's had, that's what I'm saying, as far as accomplishment, he's blowing Jimmy out of water.
I think Paul George is more of a third option on a great team. I think he's that glue guy that can take over, like if your second guy is not having a great game. Or so.
And then you got to remember this: you taking Jimmy. The case you making, in the case I agree with you, taking Jimmy for toughness. Okay, you're taking Jimmy for toughness. Okay, you're not taking Jimmy for numbers. You're not taking Jimmy.
Upgrading Dylan Brooks, basically.
Yeah. And he's probably smaller than Dylan Brooks. But you're not taking Jimmy. Yeah, he's probably smaller than Dylan. They about the same size, but Dylan Brooks, I think, is probably an inch or two tall. But that's not a big deal. But what I'm saying is Jimmy, what are you expecting to get out of Jimmy every game, production-wise?
You know what? I never thought about that, actually. A team I would love to see Jimmy or Paul George go to is Memphis.
Yeah, but hold on. Let's just stay in the Rockets. You trying to deviate because we ain't talking about who you want. We talking about our team right now, man. We spent time checking on your team.
We talking about lottery picks right now. So
yeah, I knew he's gonna take a shot, man. But I'm just saying. I'm saying this. This is all I'm saying. What's going on with Green? You want that to continue to go. What you saw at the end of the season, you want that to continue to go. You need a veteran to come in. Jimmy and Paul
stifles that to me.
Huh?
I see Paul stifling.
How though?
Because that nigga can hoop. I've seen him and Jalen Green go at it. Seem like I don't know. They just seem.
You think Jimmy brings more to the table than Paul George?
Because I think they can play together. I think you can integrate Jimmy a different way than what you would Paul. Even though Paul has more versatility, like you all are saying.
But you don't think?
Like I said,
you don't think? And I also say this, and then we'll move on. You don't think? Like Jimmy has been big on his toughness, and you could say Jimmy is defensive wise, right?
Defensive over.
Well, Paul George got a couple of all defensive teams.
He does, and plays great defense.
He's bigger and more skilled.
Some kind of way he couldn't do nothing with that Kyrie, man. I'm just saying.
Well, nobody can, Ro. Come on, nobody can. Exactly. That's not a fair comparison. Nobody can stop Kyrie.
But it doesn't really speak. You know who I saw giving him problems, and it kind of messed me up a little bit. The kid, what was his name? Derrick Jones Jr. Whoever Dallas had out there.
Yeah, but I mean, that's playoff. Anybody. I'm just saying, let's just be real. Let's look at the body of work Paul George versus.
We can't pay Paul George what he wants. We can't. By period. We couldn't. I mean, if we could, I guess if he would agree to take less, but for what you're getting, you got to go with
Jimmy.
With Jimmy, you don't really need much. We really don't need what Paul bring. Like I said, and even though that's a bizarre.
You don't
case.
think you could use another scorer? Because other than Green, who was scoring for you? Other than Green and Sengun?
Other than Green and Sengun,
I like the youngster, Jabari.
Yeah,
Jabari. Come on,
Bro, he only in his
come on,
first year,
man.
fam.
And he kind of he was giving
Yeah.
boys numbers a little bit.
Just
you know
say
what
y'all
I'm
don't
saying?
like Paul George. You can't compare.
Nah,
I'm not comparing them, bro.
can't-
I'm not
you can't-
comparing them.
You can't. Jabari is coming, but he's not what
But you know
Paul
what?
George could give you. Come on now, let's be realistic. Like, come on.
Paul disappears in spots some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? In big spots. Like he disappeared in a big way.
But Jimmy does the same. Jimmy is not there half of the season. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to remember what Jimmy is doing.
That boy run a program.
Jimmy ain't been there in the regular season the last 2 years. You know that. Jimmy get there in the playoffs. Jimmy ain't. Jimmy, that's why they call him playoff Jimmy. He don't be there most of the time.
True, and they'll ride AC, but it's like that's not because he doesn't put the work in. He's like AE. He kind of he puts the work in and he demands a lot. That's why, you know, the rumor mill had him, you know, when Hero went, what was it? I put that out there. You know what I'm saying? The word is they had to be separated on the bus, you know what I'm saying?
And they still went home.
They still went home, and that was everybody but Jimmy fault. I ain't gonna lie. Like you said, I mean, the Celtics dropped the game. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily know how they did that.
Both of them would be good. I just think, in my opinion, if Jaden is ready, you go with Paul. But, I mean, I don't mind getting Jimmy. I'm not mad at getting Jimmy. All right, Cole, I got one for you. Since we talking about a Knicks Blue Monday, I'll take either one. I would take Jimmy, though. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted Jimmy with Harden. But, Cole, on the Come and Talk to Me podcast, Mark Jackson responded to Charles Oakley's recent comment on who's the greatest Knick since Clyde Ward Frazier. Oak added that Jalen Brunson is the greatest Knick since Clyde Frazier. And then Jackson turns and says, hey, we love Oak, but the greatest Knick since Ward Frazier is Patrick Ewing. Now, you being a New York fan, who is the greatest Knick since Clyde Ward Frazier?
It is Patrick Ewing. And he can't. I get Brunson, and everyone goes with who's hot now. It's like Tesla come out. Oh, Tesla's the car to get. And then, you know, Range Rover comes out with something nice. Oh, Range Rover's the car to get. And, you know, so I think Brunson's in the moment, and that's what everyone remembers, recency bias. But at the end of the day, it's Patrick Ewing, man. Rookie of the year. He's the all-time leading scorer, and he's the all-time leading rebounder, all-time leader in block shots. Maybe Brunson if he wins a chip or two, or maybe if he stays around New York for another 10 years and does this consecutively for 10 years, then we can have that conversation.
Okay, let me heighten the stakes a little bit. If Jalen Brunson is the MVP of the league, is he not in the conversation of being the greatest league? Because contrary to what you believe, Elijah once stole Ewing's MVP and championship.
I will say, even if he wins MVP, he has to do it longer. Like, he's only been a Knick for what, 2 years now? 3
A lot of people say
years.
A lot of people say it's more significant than Ewing getting ran out of the playoffs every year by Jordan and Elijah. Because technically, some people would say they done the same thing. It's just Bronson ain't been to the NBA Finals yet.
He ain't done the same thing. What Ewing was up against, as far as even centers back in the day, even the most bummed center on a team, like on most teams, was actually couldn't be an all-star in today's game. Rick Smith could be an all-star in today's NBA. And
Rick Smith was better than Pat.
Smith
was better than Pat too.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what Ewing was up against.
Oh, hold on. You ain't hear what my man Rose said.
What he said?
Rose said Smith was better than Patrick Ewing.
No, he ain't mean that. What you got in your cup over there? What you got in your cup over there? He ain't mean that. I ain't even gonna hear that one. But seriously, I really think that
you think Oak hating? I think Oak is hating.
I don't think Oak's hating. I think that he feels the recency bias. I see what he's done to a team that's been trash for almost 2 decades. So for Brunson to come in and do what he's done, but you can also, I can't take away from the fact that Randall took us to the playoffs with Alfred Payton as our, what you call it. So you gotta give him credit too. But I was
he in that conversation too. Come on, man.
Randall conversation for the greatest Knick. I would put Julius Randle and Carmelo in those same categories. Like, they're great players, but they don't elevate you. Ewing and Brunson elevate you. I'm just saying Brunson could be the best New York Knick ever of all time if he does it for 10 consecutive years.
Okay,
to me,
so the longevity,
or if he win a chip, bro.
for too long.
If he win a chip, right?
He got to
say they somehow get past Boston, somehow get past Minnesota or Denver or Dallas or whoever come out the way.
He'll get a statue. He'll get a statue bigger than Allen Iverson.
I feel that. Hey,
Hey, Ro, you agree that Ewing is better? You
No,
think
that
Ewing
who? That who?
than Bronson? Right now, he's the greatest Knick since Clyde Frazier?
Nah.
You don't think so? You think Bronson is better than Ewing?
Not Brunson necessarily, but maybe like a Bernard King. We're going to pull somebody else out of a hat just for argument's sake, because it's like Pat is the butt of a lot of he's been on the recipient of a whole lot of abuse, which is not Pat's fault. And it wasn't his fault that he necessarily peaked at Georgetown, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, you know, don't nobody fear Pat. Niggas go at Pat. This nigga stomped all over Pat, man, all over the league. You know? I was on the outside looking in, and y'all took a tremendous loss on the chin on account of Pat, really, because Pat couldn't hold his end. Shit, Derek Harper was eating. John Starks was eating. Charles Smith was eating. Everybody was eating but Pat, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it was by
I hear the hate.
I mean, so it's like, nah, feel me, Cole. First, though, back when boys was rocking the pullovers and started jackets. For some reason, my fooly ass had a New York Knicks one. I don't even know why. You know what I'm saying? That's what East Bay sent. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's what they got me. But I had to suffer a whole lot of that because we went on a run. You understand what I'm saying? I couldn't put my jacket on because of what them boys was out there doing. And it ain't had much to do with Pat. I'm sorry, my man. I'm telling you. Herb Williams. I remember more about his backup.
He said Herb Williams.
Man, my mic just went off.
Oh, no.
He said
My
Herb.
man, shout out to Pat. You know what I'm saying? I love you, Pat. You know what I'm saying?
I was just waiting for you to say Othello Harrington next. And I was like,
Othello Harrington. I can be. I go through the list. I've been watching y'all boys. It's like you could have threw Spreewell out there, Charlie Ward. We can go to some of the bad. Y'all drafted Chris Stopps. Yeah, y'all drafted Chris Stopps. I forgot about Mason. I love Mason on that team. You know what I'm saying? It was everybody but Pat.
Hey, Ro,
and see, you know what it was?
Ro,
Pat lost his athleticism. So he was the first of the big men to lose his athleticism some kind of way. I didn't understand what the knee pads was about because Dream wore knee pads too. But, you know what I'm saying, Dream could move and had shakers. Pat had one foul away with a high release and leave it up there. You know what I'm saying? It's like Pat had the luxury of being out east. Them wasn't epic battles. Didn't nobody had no epic battle with Pat. But that was Pat's lone opportunity to show up in a head-to-head battle in an era where big men was plentiful. Because David Robinson ate that boy. I don't even know what Shaq did. He might have called in sick when Shaq came out there.
This is the diehard Elijah Wood 90s Rockets. So he do the same thing to David Robinson. He do the same thing to Tim Duncan. He do the same. Only person he don't do it to is Shaq.
And I don't do it to Pat because it was no competition. This nigga has no cartilage. It's something about the knees. Pat had no athleticism. And he lost it.
We talking about the greatest Knick, Ro. Come on, man. Really, Bernard King?
Well, yeah, he was on NBA Jam with John fucking with Starks. I mean, it's like, yes, I guess you could say that, but if you want to encapsulate all of the heartache and shit that New Yorkers had to suffer from for that era, yo, that's cool with me. Y'all want to hit y'all wagon to Pat? Hey, whoever was the GM, and it sound like I'm going because I ain't got nothing against Pat like that. However, in the era of great big men,
the greatest Knick though, not big men. You gotta say he's the greatest Knick.
The greatest Knick.
Who was better than Patrick Ewing?
He's a top 50 of all time.
Exactly. Come on, Ro.
He was a top 50 all time on the strength that he was the best. I don't know what happened to his knees either, man. I'm just saying. Boys ain't feared Pat. Like boys feared Karl Malone because he had that hatchet and he had free throw line extended and the two and the two man
had a better jump shot than most guards in the league.
From free throw line. I mean, come on, but he ain't had no shakers. Y'all didn't even run plays around this shit. Seemed like it's like I don't know, man. I don't know.
You do know in his best season he averaged 28 a game, and for average prior to him going to Seattle, and I think it was the Orlando Magic because I don't want to remember those days. But freaking, he used to. I think his career average used to be like.
Bro, I think you hate.
No. Look, and he got him some Elijah 1 years. He got him some, but. Ewing might have about 7 or 8 of them bitches. Like Ewing last 7 or 8 years was okay. You know what? I give you some. Okay, when Mark Jackson was the point guard.
Yeah, Pat was there.
Pat was solid then,
Yeah.
but that was a different Pat. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying Pat running.
Okay, let's say this.
Most dedicated to the franchise. I give him all the face of the franchise, all that good shit. But like the best Nick shit now. Like Larry Johnson was. I mean, come on, man. But they took them boys to another final and lost to San Antonio.
He was the only one who literally, even though he never beat them, outside of the bad boys, he was the only one to really get Jordan a go.
Man.
I don't give a fuck. It's your lost round. Pat. He went, you know what? And that might have been the peak of Pat's athleticism. That's my only problem with it, because Pat had to become a wild event.
You make a point if we talking about big men in the 90s. I can feel you.
That was their only run. I'm just saying.
But I'm saying we
took them niggas to a championship
but
too.
We
they
talking
lost.
about the Knicks, the greatest Knick since Walt Clyde Frazier. Come on, bro.
I mean, did all them niggas, did him and Earl Pearl, all them niggas play on the same team? Did Willis Reed play on the same team?
Nah, Pearl was before that.
Pearl was before that? Shit.
Frazier was like 1970.
Allen Houston. I give you some bum, you know what I'm saying? I really don't care. I'm not just going to give you Pat like that because I ain't fear Pat like that. Pat, I learned how to play basketball. I learned playing basketball, you know what I'm saying, during that era where Pat, didn't nobody say it, man. No, look at Pat. You play like Pat. Nah, man, ain't nobody want.
But he ain't the greatest Knick since Walt Clyde Frazier.
Now Starberry was actually got a much better case to me, even in his diminished state. Penny Hardaway.
Before you even say Starberry,
Penny Hardaway for the Knicks.
Yeah, anybody.
Starberry.
No.
ABP.
Before you even say Starberry,
Starberry and Amari Stoudemire
had a sick team.
I can stand on that.
Had a sick team.
With
the Melo team. J.R. Smith. It was a lot of bucks. He wasn't the better nigga. Don't get me wrong.
Patrick Ewing, man, come on, man. Dream team, top 50 player. Come on now. Come on,
he was decent, but he was like the worst
of
like
the big men.
Big
but
men.
we talking about the Knicks, though. We ain't talking about the big men.
Well, I acknowledge
90s.
that he's the face of the franchise. Yes. I mean, was he the best Knick? Yes, but that's a dubious
That's what
distinction.
we asked.
That's very dubious. I would say Spreewell. Did Spreewell choke the coach in where? In I can't do it. I'm a down my motherfucking shield. And you know what? I love you, Pat, but nah, baby. It's like if you the apple, that's cool. He was in Space Jam and everything, my nigga.
Cole, he in love with Elijah Wood, man. And how Elijah Wood did Pat, he can't get Pat.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? He just can't get Pat.
Like I said, Brunson is the best Knick. I'm writing that check now. You know what I'm saying? Whatever Brunson do from this point on is kind of irrelevant. He will have been better than Pat at the end of the day. Real talk.
All right, let's get the boxing and let's get out of here, man. We're only gonna do 2 boxes, man. Ro, this is how Ro was looking last week when we was like, should Earl get that money from the coach, and Ro just went crazy like, nah, man, you can't get your ass whooped like that and ask for that check. So he very passionate about that, Cole, but he not hate. All right, let's talk about it, man. The news that's been going on in boxing, and then we're going to get out of here. All right, breaking. Following the upset victory over Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia's achievement is now tainted by controversy after the Ryan Garcia failed test. Headlines hit revealing his positive results for performance-enhancing drug called Ostarine. This revelation not only questions the legitimacy of his win, but also puts his future in the sport on shaky ground. All right, thoughts. Let's get into this because this is bad. And I told you this, Cole, when I broke this news in the chat. It's like, I'm really not happy about this, even though I wanted Haney to win. I'm not happy about this because, number one, despite whatever I believe about Haney, Ryan Garcia winning that fight was great for boxing because it's like on any given night, it doesn't matter how good you are, anybody could win. And we need that in boxing. We need upsets. We need things to be flipped upside down. And for whatever Ryan was doing, he kind of represented the anti-establishment. In particular for casuals like you, Cole, that's not a dig at you. It set the boxing world on fire. I was actually happy for it. Because, again, it's good for boxing. It's not like, we know this was going to happen. I actually was okay with getting it wrong. You know what I'm saying? But with this going on now, number one, my question to you, Cole, is if this comes back, and I believe this is going to stick because the A and B sample to me is pretty much the same thing. Should Ryan be punished? And if so, what should his punishment be? Because you got to remember this, Cole, and Roe pointed this out. This was a great point by Roe. You purposely missed weight. You used it as a strategy for the fight. It worked. But now we found out not only did you miss weight, you told everybody that you intended to lose weight. You intended to miss weight. You even had the guy that trained you tell you that was purpose to come in with 3 pounds off of weight. But now we found out you were using performance-enhancing drugs. And this drug called Ostarine, it basically helps you with endurance and makes you, it increases muscle power and more explosion. If this is true, Cole, should he be punished, and what should happen to Ryan Garcia?
I think that some of his purse money should be taken back from him if it was up to me. And I also think that Devin Haney's loss should be taken off his record. And then I think that I don't know if I would do much more than that than to take back some money and take back some money and take the loss and give him a loss. I would give him a loss and take the loss away from Haney.
Should he be suspended?
I wouldn't suspend him. I think that is the first time he made a mistake. I think you get a warning, a fine. I think that's usually how things should be adjudicated in the first place, unless it's egregious. And I don't think that's crazy egregious. I think that he should get fined, take some of the money back, change the records, give him a loss, give Haney the win, and call it a day. If it happens,
let me ask you this, because you're a gambler. Should I get my money back?
I think there's rules in the thing, so I don't think you can.
But should I get my money back? Because there are betting sites that are giving people their money back because of what Ryan did.
I mean, I could see. I think yes and no. I think it's a yes and no.
I knew you was gonna do that because here's the thing. I know you gamble, so knowing that this man cheated. And he came out. We found. I mean, he cheated anyway. He didn't make weight, but he cheated. We just found out, and I think it's a second drug that also tested positive for a PED. If you bet it on Devin Haney, shouldn't you get your money back? Since everything was tainted, you don't think you should get your money back? I mean, it's getting quiet over here. The Tankomaniacs, boy.
No, it's a hard one to adjudicate. That's hard to adjudicate, yo. Because I see both sides. There's a lot of winners, a lot of losers. It could go both ways.
So if you bet it on Haney, you wouldn't want your money back.
I would have took my L. I probably would have took my L as in.
So you taking that L even though you know he cheated?
Because I already think half these games be rigged sometimes the way that the stuff be going down anyway. So I think
this guy, man, he's loyal to the end. He's
loyal to the end. I don't think it's that big of. I don't. Certain sports, I wish they would let PDs. It's like the baseball era with the home runs.
No. You ain't gonna do that, Jack. Let's stay on this boxing stuff because I see what you're trying to do. I'm not letting you out of this, man. I'm asking you if you bet your money on Devin Haney and you just found out this man used 2 performance-enhancing drugs. Should you or should you not get your money back? You betted money. You bet the mortgage. Should you get your money back? It's a simple question, man. We ain't got to go to Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. You see the Tankomania is coming out right now, man. The Tankomaniacs is coming out. Go ahead, Cole.
I won't be mad if you get your money back. I said,
do you want your money back or not, Cole? You bet it on him.
If I was betting and I lost $1 million, yeah, I want my money back.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
I bet $10.
We know you loyal to Tank, man. We know it. We get it.
That has nothing to do with Tank. We're talking about that specific question that you just asked. If I bet $10, I don't care. I'm not going through the motion trying to fight to get $10 back. But if I bet $100,000, yeah, that I have a problem. Yeah, give me my money back.
I ain't gonna lie, even if it was 10, you know what I'm saying? I'd like my money back if y'all are going to give it back in light of the present delight. I'm a crumb diggler because I'd have been a fool to put any money on it in the first place. Bottom line, like I said, if you bet the house on Haney, you were doing the most, and you probably already lost your house on Arrow.
But they're going down a slippery slope. If you say, hey, pay the money back, what about the people that won $500,000 off it? You gonna ask them for their money back?
Oh, you need to certainly.
That's a slippery slope. That's why I'm looking at it from both
When the
sides.
fix is in, well, it's a slippery slope, yes. And was it dirty and underhanded? Because it was. I mean, if Ryan's purse was, so to speak, was anything.
This is where I'm gonna educate y'all on the gambling websites too. It's also if there was an error in the scoring and they change it after the fact. There's a little disclaimer at the end.
I get that. Yeah, I get that.
And that's some more. And that's some
I
more.
get that.
That's
I
some more-
understand that.
That's a more understandable equalizer. You know, that's a more understandable
Yeah, I
equalizer
get that, Cole.
in the event of something like that. But in the event of a cheater or a DQ or an intentional should be DQ, some people should be asking themselves, and if he wasn't so viral and popular right now, he should realistically be looking for a legitimate ban from a lot of us. He should lose his a lot of the sanctioning bodies ought to put sanctions, whatever the hell it is they call on him for that alone, because
I think
you already have a reckless disregard for the belts, the title, the discipline aspects of it. It's all a publicity stunt for you. You no different than the Pauls. You know what I'm saying? It's like at the end of the day, you think you're pretty and you want to be an internet sensation type thing. You want to say this viral, ridiculous shit, act out crazy and make a mockery of yourself. Then take PEDs knowingly, come in knowingly overweight. Like I said, bet, however much on yourself on the slick after you're a 6-1 dog, which is smart. But then you let it out of the bag real quick after that before the shit hit the fan. So I'm really sick of Ryan and sick and disappointed at the same time, because like you said, he could have been something really, really good. He could have been lightning in a bottle in terms of this. And what you doing? You taking pictures with Trump. You fucking around with all the wrong people. And all you doing is talking. You and Tank, as a matter of fact. It's like, fuck, y'all both on the PEDs of the tongue. You know what I'm saying? It's like, fuck, you guys talk a lot. And I understand you like the cameras, and I understand you think it's cute, and you get a lot of attention, and these little females be involved, but y'all niggas fight. You feel me? At the end of the day, y'all fight. It's some real killers out there. You know what I'm saying? Here's a kid named Matthias. Y'all don't even want to talk about. Y'all want to bury him. You know what I'm saying? And he's probably the most dangerous person on the planet right now. But we don't even hear about him. We got to talk about you and whether you crazy and whether you got PTSD and whether you bipolar and you off your meds or getting kidnapped. What kind of female ass soap opera shit is that?
I wasn't lying about when I was saying to you, Becca, I was like, yo, I think he's on drugs.
You feel me? That's a tabloid line. You can go to Oprah.
That's what PEDs does to you.
He actually did a horrible freestyle that I wasted my time and brain power listening to Tupac's Hit 'Em Up, to a beloved beat like Tupac Hit 'Em Up. And you gonna make a diss record because you talking all this stuff because people can't explain why you believe that you would beat this young man. I still think
that's promotion.
That was promotion, but it was bad promotion at that.
It was. You know. But the thing about it is this. If he didn't test positive, it was brilliant. It was brilliant what he did.
For everything.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. For me, it gave boxing a black eye. I don't think he should be banned. I get your frustration though. I do get your frustration because at the end of the day,
it was all Tank sexuals.
Right. Well, and it was a belt. It was a belt on the line. The man came in as a professional talking about Haney, made the weight, looking to put the belt up, and then you could have told him that you wasn't going to make the weight. You show up and be like, hey, you know what? I missed weight. You had no purpose in fighting for the belt. Okay. All right. You don't want the belt. You just want to whoop his ass. All right, cool. The kind of promoting you did, it was unconventional, but it worked. It worked. But the PEDs on top of that, it's just crazy. It's crazy. I'm not even tripping about the promotion. It's just the PEDs. It's like you knew you took something on top of you knew you was going to miss weight. And I get Rose frustration. That's what a lot of people in the boxing world is saying. The frustration with him is like, all right, promotion. We thought it was something up, but we understood because you made a lot of money. It brought a lot of eyes to that match. It set boxing on fire. And then we get the upset, which was great for boxing. But then to find out you purposely missed weight, you purposely brought all this attention to cheat. You know what I'm saying? Just to flat out cheat with PEDs. And then it's kind of like, why you got to do all that and cheat? You know what I'm saying? It's just not a good look for boxing itself. I don't think he should. I think it's been other boxers use PEDs. I'm kind of with Cole on that, but I do understand Rose's frustration. I do think he should be suspended for a while. Not a lifetime suspension, but maybe a year out of boxing. You know what I'm saying? Because there's been other fighters that test positive for PEDs
And then
and
make
they've
him
been
get in there
suspended.
with a killer. You make
Yeah.
him in for a
Well,
low payday. Even,
right,
you know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
Because he has a draw. That's
Well,
the problem.
he got a draw, right? And the casuals love him. The casual fans love him. The females love him. So I do think it's a place in boxing for him, but at the same time,
Sound like, hey, shout out to Ryan, man.
yeah,
on the
no, he
tool.
did his
I'm not
thing.
even hating.
I'm
It's
not
just-
even mad at how he promoted. I just don't like the PED use. That's what I don't like. I don't like the PED. I was all for the promotion. I was all for even the buffoonery, but then to top it off with cheating, I'm not with. I'm just not with. All right, let's get to one more topic and then we get out of here. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. We just saw this weekend your man, who I think is still the face of boxing, Canelo Alvarez retains his undisputed super middleweight championship with a unanimous decision victory over Jaime Munguia, and the scores read as follows: 117 to 110, 116 to 111, and 115 to 112. This is his third consecutive decision win for Canelo, where he scored a knockdown. Now, who should he fight next? Number one, let's get thoughts on the fight. Did either one of y'all watch the fight? Did y'all see the highlights?
I saw the highlights.
I saw it.
Yeah. Let's go to the knockdown. He had one knockdown, and Chuck gonna play it right here. This is
I think
against
it'll serve Canelo right to start trying to back up Munguia with jabs, just like that. If you could do that and jab to the chest and back up Munguia, who is not accustomed to going backwards, then you can get let off on combinations and explosive combinations and punches if you're Canelo.
Oh, right from Munguia. And he's trying to batter Canelo, who answers with a right hand of his own, and then an uppercut. Oh, Munguia is down for the first time in his career.
And this is what's going to turn into a firefight. An uppercut that he didn't see coming.
This is what happens. Jaime Munguia has been hurt and rocked in previous fights. He has never been hit by a guy with this kind of power.
Just to land a big right.
All right, so shout out to Canelo for the knockdown. We're starting to see that from him. Is he aging? Yes. And the reason why I say he's aging is that he used to be able to knock guys down, knock them out, versus he's getting knockdowns rather. Excuse me. For me, he doesn't move anywhere on the pound for pound list because I had him doing this. I had him beating Jaime Munguia. Munguia, for all the fights that he had, and I think he was 44-0 for this fight. Munguia, I don't think he's on that level. He's a good young champion, former champion rather. So I expected this. I told Cole it would be by decision, which I expected. My thoughts on the fight. I think Canelo, his skills has diminished, but what I saw from that fight and why I still think he's the face of boxing in terms of the ring is that I saw what I want to see in aging boxers. The same thing I saw in Floyd. Even though the physical skills have diminished, mentally he's on a different level. And what I mean by that is when I saw that fight, Munguia did some great things. But the thing about what I'm seeing with Canelo and why I think he can still be the king of the boxing game is now mentally he's ahead of everybody in the game, meaning that in that fight against Munguia, because a lot of people say what can get Canelo out now is output, skill, how many fights he's had. Is he slowing down? A lot of people have said that in the game plan, outwork him, you should catch him. Sooner or later, his age is going to catch up with him in the ring. Well, he's not as quick as fast, but in that fight, he didn't waste any punches. He didn't waste any motions. And that's what you got to do to last as an older fighter. He's still on my pound for pound list, but I can see him, much like Floyd in Floyd's older career, cerebrally, not wasting punches, not wasting motion. Canelo took his time. If you were casual when you watched the first 3 rounds of that fight, you're like, yeah, Munguia gonna get him. But as the fight kept going, you could see Canelo. A lot of those punches that Munguia was throwing, Canelo was blocking. His defense is off the charts right now. And I could see him systematically outthinking a young, game, energetic fighter. And so for me, It was a great performance by Canelo. Great performance by Canelo. And that's what I want to see from a fighter whose physical skills have diminished. Now, with that being said, who should he fight next? And what I'm asking you two and people in the chat, who would you like to see him fight and why? Now, he's got mandatories. And I'm going to tell you this. Another reason why he stays on my pound for pound list, and this is the one thing that Crawford does not do. The only hole I have in Crawford's resume is what Canelo and what, shout out to Inouye, what he did today. But this is Canelo, I believe, second or third time defending undisputed. There's an old saying in boxing, if you win the belt or you win the belts, you're not a real champion until you defend them. That's the only knock I have on Terrence Crawford is the 2 times that he became undisputed, he never defended those belts. Now, to Crawford's, credit, that might just be the goal for him is just to get all the belts. But one thing I can always respect Canelo Alvarez for, and he can always be still my face of boxing, is that he defended undisputed again against another 168-pounder, which is the division super middleweight where he has all the belts. But he's got mandatory challenges because when you hold those belts in each of those boxing commissions, you have mandatories, meaning who's next up in that particular commission. For the WBC, and the fight that everybody wants to see is David Benavidez. For the WBA is Edgar Berlanga. Shout out to the Terror Squad. That's Fat Joe's fighter. And then the IBF is William Skull. Now, he's never fought or fulfilled a WBA or IBF mandatory. But there's been other news coming down the pipe. Turkey Alex Sheik said today that he wants to make the Canelo versus Terrence Crawford fight, barring if Crawford wins on August the 3rd against the 154-pound WBA champion. But my question, and I'll start with you, Ro, and then we'll go to Cole. I would like to see him fight David Benavidez. Why? Because I think David Benavidez is the best 168-pound fighter out there. And Canelo's energy is a little bit different when you talk about Benavidez. I think Benavidez is the only one that has a chance to beat him. And I still think it'll be a good fight because I tell people all the time, just because Benavidez can put out the output and has the power, Jaime didn't have any power. What I saw from Canelo this weekend is a smart fighter. So I don't even know if Benavidez can land that many punches. But for me, it's David Benavidez and Terrence Crawford. Ro, who do you want to see Canelo fight and why next?
We pretty much on the same wavelength with that one on the strength of I think David Benavidez is the most entertaining mandatory that he's got.
Yeah.
And he stands a good chance of winning it in much similar fashion than
Berlanga and Skull.
Yeah.
Shout out to Crystal King, whoever you are, boxing. Shout out to her. She said Christian and Billy. That's how I know she know boxing. Whoever you are, shout out to you. Christian and Billy. I'm going to get back to you, Ro. He's a Canadian fighter who's undefeated on Top Rank. He's another top 168-pound super middleweight contender that I like. Crystal, I actually wanted Billy to either fight Morrell, Caleb Plant, Edgar Berlanga. I think Billy should fight them because I think he needs to move up in the 168 division. But good take. Go back to you, Ro. Christian and Billy is an excellent fighter from Canada. I actually told JT to look him up. I'm going to get on JT ass about that. But shout out to you, Crystal King, because you know your boxer. All right, go back to you, Ro. I don't think Billy's ready yet, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's got to be Benavidez. He and Munguia have a similar skill set, so to speak. And it'd be
high output. Yeah.
It'd be another. It's pretty much Canelo's last stop because I really don't look for him to be rushing to lock up with Terrence Crawford. I would love to see it happen. However, it has that Pacquiao Floyd mystique about it, where it's like that might be something we're gonna left to imagine. But realistically, I think he goes at David Benavidez. That's his best fight, I'd say, in terms of
the weight division,
and with the way they could market it.
Yeah,
the other two probably pose a legitimate, threat for the other two belts. But for one, like you said, he's never even fought one of those guys, and he's not going to put himself out there, unnecessarily. I think So I mean, realistically, he's got 60. He's 60 plus.
60 plus. Yeah.
He doesn't have that many left. So to tread carefully, I'd say the most daring would be Benavidez, but that's at the same time, that's really his only avenue outside of going away from Bud.
Now, Cole, you've been on record saying that you want the Crawford fight. Do you want Crawford over Benavidez, or do you want both?
I want Crawford over Benavidez because I feel like the longer Canelo fights, the weaker he's going to start looking. And I want to see that. I want to see them as close to their best when they fight each other.
You think that's the mega fight? That is the money fight between Terrence Crawford, correct?
Yeah, that is the money fight. That's what the Arabs want to pay for.
Yeah. Now, I ain't going to lie. I'm with Cole. I actually think Crawford could win. A lot of people think we're crazy for that, but I do think Crawford is a generational fighter. It's going to be a tough task, but I do think he can outbox Canelo because at the end of the day, Crawford is I just believe he's that good. And I think it's one of those fights that, you want to find out if Crawford is Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is. I think if Crawford destroys his next guy in 154, which I think he can, I think Crawford should move up and fight a 60-pounder and then go for Canelo. Turkey Al-Sheikh said he wants to see that fight. But I do think that I'm with both of y'all. I want Benavidez and I want Crawford. I think those should be his last two fights. I think Benavidez is the biggest threat to him losing. Even though Crystal made a good point about Billy, I don't think Billy can beat him. I don't think Berlanga is ready yet. Berlanga's on the way, but I don't think Edgar is ready yet. I think Edgar should tackle the lower division, not the lower halves, but the next guys at 168, like Crystal said, and Billy. David Morrell, who's moving up to 75 to chase Benavidez. Caleb Plant is still out there and fight. I think Edgar or somebody should take care of Jamal.
What she said.
Yeah.
She said Edgar is really good.
He is good, but I don't think he's ready for a Canelo fight yet. I think Edgar is right underneath Canelo. I think it's Canelo and Benavidez, and then I think it's Edgar, David Morrell, Christian and Billy, Diego Pacheco, which is another good 168-pound fighter. 168 is stacked, but I think it's Canelo and Benavidez. And then I think it's Edgar and Billy, not in particular order, Morrell, Caleb Plant, and Diego Pacheco. Not to mention Vladimir Shishkin is underneath that too. So I think Edgar should fight Shishkin or some of those guys in that second tier. But we'll see. But let's get up out of here. Let's do some shout-outs, man. Shout out to U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson for appearing in the Beats by Dre commercial. Looks like she's partnering up with Beats by Dre. Shout out to Sha'Carri, man. Overcoming adversity and becoming one of the fastest track athletes in the world. Shout out to Minnesota Timberwolves guards Anthony Edwards for joining Kobe Bryant. And shout out to y'all, Chuck, what Andy said. He made that comparison in terms of Anthony Edwards being better than Kobe. That's worthy of a debate one day. But shout out to Anthony Edwards for joining Kobe, for being the only player under the age of 23 to record back-to-back 40-plus point games in playoff games. So Ant is on his way, man. Shout out to Kyrie Irving, Anthony Edwards, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, Tyreek Maxey, and Joel Embiid for giving us big playoff games as far as numbers. I am really enjoying the offensive output from these guards. I am enjoying the fact that with Anthony Edwards, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson,
Polo too.
Pablo, Paul. I can't say his name, but Blanchero, Maxey, all of those guys. I'm seeing the new wave of the NBA emerge. I also throw Jalen Green in that bunch. Ja Morant when he gets back, like Cole says. De'Aaron Fox. I like where the league is going. I think a lot of kids are getting back to being two-way players. And I'm like what I'm seeing. I'll throw some bonus in that mix.
Shout out to AE because he making the two-way player be cool.
Yeah.
Like he making defense. Even Kyrie said it the other day in his post game. He was like, "Nah, I really want to lock up man to man." And so they making defense cool.
Right.
Again.
They're bringing the NBA back to what it was in the 80s and 90s. But I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying to see these young guys really embrace the game. Ro, you got any shout outs?
Nah, the continued the continued growth and success to the WNBA chicks.
right.
I've been catching a whole lot more of them lately. You know, a lot of those storylines are developing. And
Get them ladies some TV time.
Yeah.
That was a shame Angel Reese them game wasn't on national TV.
I'm not so upset about that though.
Bro,
It's a preseason game.
it's still their first time to see them.
They can make up for it if they put them on. If they give them more regular season games, I'm not so upset. Because the only reason why I say that too, to back up what I'm saying, we don't know if they're going to play all game. Put their regular season games on every night when we know that they're going to play every game. That's my only thing. Because they could have played as preseason. I would have been pissed off if I watched Angel Reese play 10 minutes.
But that's like any professional sports preseason game.
But I don't want to see them play 10 minutes. I want to see them play 25 minutes. That's just my justification why I wasn't so mad that they didn't put the preseason game on.
And we knew because this is all new. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So granted, because it's like they're in an interesting time right now.
Yeah.
You know, they're on the cusp of something big, and that's all good. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I got a daughter. That's all
Now,
good. You know what I'm saying?
to back up what Chuck's saying, if they don't do regular season games every night televised, then I got a problem.
They gonna have to because Caitlin demanding
Right.
big bag, right? And that
Right.
bag come from TV money.
Right. And I think for the WNBA right now, you should capitalize on this momentum. If you
Have to.
don't, shame on you.
Shame.
Shame on you. Cole, you got any shout outs?
I gotta shout out this Indiana Pacers bench beating us 42-3 right now, man.
Wow. What's the score? The total score.
They're up by hold on, man. The commercial just
Yeah,
went.
nice.
This time. I think they up 8 right now with 11 minutes left.
94-85.
They move the ball like the old Phoenix Suns, man. Like I can't.
We got to break that down next week, man, because I really think New York is a way better team than them. But
Miles Turner giving it to them boys.
They're down
he can
9.
be a problem.
They've been a problem for the Knicks all season, the way they move the ball. And not just that, we don't have Randall. So
Obi Toppin back in the camp with 12. He even gave him 12.
Yeah.
That's revenge.
He on their ass.
pushing the tempo, like they're literally scoring in seconds on some possessions. You're like, dang.
So, Cole, do you think that's the reason why y'all losing is the bench is outscoring y'all?
Tibbs is only playing like 7 deep, man. Tibbs don't know how to match it. To me, I would have Precious Ochoa, not Robinson, playing this series because I'll be playing Precious Ochoa on Miles, and he could switch off on a lot of these smaller dudes. But Tibbs don't do that. And honestly, McBride ain't doing nothing this game. You got
Hey, man, I don't mean to cut you off, man, but this ain't the New York City broadcast. I just wanted a brief summation. Do you have any more shout outs, man?
I'm good, man.
You good? You should be tight right now because they spoke to me. I think they should
I thought
sweep
they
the
was gonna run
Pacers.
through this shit,
Yeah,
for
me
real.
too.
They
But
just-
it's still a long series. But anyway, shout out to
Pacers
the
won the play-in tournament. No, they came in second in the play-in tournament, and they actually beat the Bucks. So they're not a whack team.
And you know, if the Knicks lose this series, there's going to be a lot of talk about Halliburton actually being better than Bronson. But let's not go there. Let's not go there. Let's not go. We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. We got to go.
Halliburton is playing like a bum.
Series.com. Shout out to New York. Shout out to Roe. Shout out to Cole. Shout out to the Yankees, Mets, all of that. Shout out to Chuck. Shout out to the chat, Crystal King. We're going to look you up. You know more boxing than Cole and JT combined. I like your takes. Shout out to George Simpkins, Mo City Radio. Everybody that came in the chat, shout out to you. We are appreciating that we're picking up. We're picking up speed in the chat. We appreciate you. Check us out next Monday or come to MoSerious.com. Check out Mo City, the podcast. Check out Guns Down, Gloves Up, and check out Debate with Bake. We out from New York all the way back to Mo City. We are done. Boom!